Question 1. A project team is developing a new mobile application using an agile approach. During the daily stand-up, a team member mentions a critical design issue they encountered. What should the Scrum Master's immediate response be regarding this impediment? A. Assign the impediment to a specific team member to resolve by the next stand-up. B. Add the impediment to the sprint backlog and prioritize it for the current sprint. C. Facilitate a discussion to help the team identify solutions or offer to help remove the impediment. D. Escalate the issue immediately to the project sponsor for intervention. Answer: C. Facilitate a discussion to help the team identify solutions or offer to help remove the impediment. The Scrum Master's role is to act as a servant leader, facilitating the team's progress and removing impediments that hinder their work. When an impediment is raised, the Scrum Master should first encourage the team to self-organize and find a solution collaboratively. If the team cannot resolve it themselves, the Scrum Master steps in to assist in removing the blocker, such as by contacting external parties or escalating issues appropriately. For example, if a team member is blocked by a software license issue, the Scrum Master would help acquire the license, not just assign it. Always remember that the Scrum Master empowers the team while taking responsibility for impediment removal. Question 2. In an Agile project, a critical stakeholder frequently requests new features that are not part of the current sprint backlog. How should the product owner typically handle these requests? A. Add the new features immediately to the current sprint backlog to satisfy the stakeholder. B. Direct the stakeholder to the development team to discuss feasibility and implementation. C. Log the requests in the product backlog and prioritize them against existing items for future sprints. D. Reject all new requests, emphasizing that the sprint backlog is immutable once started. Answer: C. Log the requests in the product backlog and prioritize them against existing items for future sprints. The product owner is responsible for maximizing the value of the product and managing the product backlog, which is a living, prioritized list of all features, functions, requirements, and enhancements. New requests from stakeholders should be captured in the product backlog and then prioritized alongside other items based on value, risk, and dependencies, rather than being added mid-sprint. For instance, if a stakeholder wants a new reporting feature, the product owner would add it to the backlog and then decide its priority relative to other features already planned. This approach ensures that the team maintains focus on the current sprint goals while still addressing evolving needs. Question 3. A large organization is transitioning from a traditional waterfall approach to an agile framework for its software development projects. What is a key characteristic of agile approaches that differentiates them from traditional methods in terms of planning? A. Agile relies on a single, detailed upfront plan that guides the entire project. B. Agile emphasizes continuous, adaptive planning with frequent adjustments based on feedback. C. Agile completely eliminates the need for any form of project planning. D. Agile planning is solely done by the project manager, independent of the team. Answer: B. Agile emphasizes continuous, adaptive planning with frequent adjustments based on feedback. Unlike traditional waterfall methods that create a comprehensive plan at the beginning and try to follow it rigidly, Agile approaches embrace adaptive planning. This means planning is an ongoing activity that occurs at multiple levels: release, iteration, daily, allowing for flexibility and adjustments based on learning, feedback, and changing requirements. For example, instead of planning every single detail for a year-long project, an Agile team plans in short increments, sprints, and re-evaluates at the end of each. This continuous feedback loop helps projects remain responsive to change, which is crucial in dynamic environments. Question 4. A new Agile team is struggling with collaboration and communication during their daily stand-up meetings. Team members often arrive late, and discussions frequently derail into problem-solving sessions. What is the most appropriate action for the Scrum Master to take? A. Cancel the daily stand-up meetings until the team demonstrates better discipline. B. Facilitate a session to re-explain the purpose and guidelines of the daily stand-up, focusing on its time-boxed nature. C. Instruct individual team members to report their progress directly to the Scrum Master instead. D. Implement a strict penalty system for tardiness and off-topic discussions. Answer: B. Facilitate a session to re-explain the purpose and guidelines of the daily stand-up, focusing on its time-boxed nature. The daily stand-up, or daily scrum, is a key Agile event designed for team members to synchronize activities and plan for the next 24 hours, typically by answering 3 questions. What did I do yesterday? What will I do today? Are there any impediments? The Scrum Master's role is to coach the team on these practices and ensure adherence to the time box, rather than abandoning the meeting or micromanaging. For instance, the Scrum Master might visually display the 15-minute time box and gently redirect conversations that turn into problem-solving to be held immediately after the stand-up. Helping the team understand the why behind the structure will improve participation and effectiveness. Question 5. During a sprint review, stakeholders expressed dissatisfaction with a key feature developed by the team, stating it doesn't meet their current needs. What should be the product owner's primary response? A. Defend the team's work, explaining that the feature was developed exactly as initially specified. B. Record the feedback, update the product backlog with new or modified items, and reprioritize as needed. C. Blame the development team for not understanding the requirements thoroughly. D. Immediately halt the project to conduct a comprehensive re-evaluation of all requirements. Answer: B. Record the feedback, update the product backlog with new or modified items, and reprioritize as needed. The sprint review is a crucial event in Agile for inspecting the increment and adapting the product backlog. The product owner's responsibility is to gather feedback from stakeholders and incorporate it into the product backlog to ensure the product continues to deliver value and align with evolving needs. This feedback might lead to adding new user stories, modifying existing ones, or changing their priority for future sprints. For example, if a search function built isn't intuitive, the product owner would add user stories to improve the search, ensuring the next iteration addresses the feedback. Embracing change and feedback is a core Agile principle that ensures the product remains relevant and valuable. Question 6. A project team is practicing Kanban to manage their workflow. They have noticed that work items are frequently getting stuck in the testing column, leading to a bottleneck. What is the most appropriate Kanban principle to apply in this situation? A. Maximize work in progress, WIP, to keep everyone busy. B. Stop the line and swarm the bottleneck to resolve the issue. C. Focus on individual task completion rather than flow. D. Increase the number of items in the development column to feed testing. Answer: B. Stop the line and swarm the bottleneck to resolve the issue. Kanban emphasizes visualizing workflow and limiting work in progress, WIP, to improve flow and identify bottlenecks. When a bottleneck occurs, like items piling up in testing, the Kanban principle of stop the line or swarming suggests that team members should temporarily pause starting new work and instead collaborate to clear the bottleneck. For instance, developers might assist testers to help clear the backlog in the testing column, ensuring a smoother flow of work. This approach prioritizes finishing existing work over starting new work, which ultimately improves overall system throughput. Question 7. An Agile team is performing a sprint retrospective. During the meeting, a team member consistently blames external teams for delays and issues. What is the best way for the Scrum Master to guide this discussion? A. Allow the team member to fully vent their frustrations to release tension. B. Direct the conversation to focus on internal team processes and areas within the team's control for improvement. C. Assign the team member the task of formally documenting all external dependencies and issues. D. Adjourn the meeting early, as the team is clearly not ready for constructive feedback. Answer: B. Direct the conversation to focus on internal team processes and areas within the team's control for improvement. The sprint retrospective is an opportunity for the Agile team to inspect itself and create a plan for improvements to be enacted during the next sprint. Its primary focus should be on internal team dynamics, processes, and practices, rather than external factors outside their immediate control. The Scrum Master should facilitate a constructive dialogue, guiding the team to identify actionable improvements they can implement. For example, instead of dwelling on an external team's delay, the Scrum Master would ask what the Agile team could do differently to mitigate such risks in the future. Focusing on what the team can change empowers them to continuously improve. Question 8. In an Agile project, what is the primary purpose of a definition of done? A. To list all the tasks that must be completed before a sprint can begin. B. To establish the criteria that a product backlog item must meet to be considered done. C. To define the roles and responsibilities of each team member within a sprint. D. To outline the specific test cases that must pass for a feature to be released to customers. Answer: B. To establish the criteria that a product backlog item must meet to be considered done. The definition of done, DoD, is a shared understanding within an Agile team of what it means for work to be complete and potentially shippable. It specifies a set of criteria, such as code quality standards, testing completion, and documentation, that a product backlog item, or increment, must satisfy before it can be considered done. For instance, a DoD might state that done means code is reviewed, tested, integrated, and documented. This ensures transparency, quality, and a consistent understanding of completeness across the team and with stakeholders. Question 9. An Agile team has just completed their first sprint, but they struggled to meet their sprint goal due to unexpected technical challenges. What Agile value should the team particularly focus on during their upcoming sprint retrospective to improve for the next sprint? A. Customer collaboration. B. Individuals and interactions. C. Responding to change. D. Courage. Answer: D. Courage. The Agile value of courage emphasizes the importance of having the bravery to speak up, tell the truth about progress and impediments, and embrace change, even when things are difficult. In a situation where a team struggled to meet a sprint goal due to technical challenges, they need courage to openly discuss what went wrong, acknowledge mistakes, and propose improvements without fear of blame. For example, a team member might need courage to admit they underestimated a technical task or that their approach wasn't working. This honesty is vital for effective retrospectives and continuous improvement. Question 10. A product owner is continually struggling to provide clear and concise user stories for the development team, leading to frequent questions and rework. What Agile practice could best help the product owner improve the quality of user stories? A. Ensuring all user stories include detailed technical specifications. B. Implementing a strict, no questions policy during sprint planning. C. Collaborating closely with the development team during backlog refinement. D. Hiring a dedicated technical writer to document all user stories. Answer: C. Collaborating closely with the development team during backlog refinement. Backlog refinement, also known as backlog grooming, is an ongoing process where the product owner and the development team collaborate to add detail, estimates, and order to product backlog items. This collaborative effort allows the team to ask questions, clarify ambiguities, and break down larger items into smaller, more manageable user stories, thus improving their clarity and readiness for future sprints. For instance, during refinement, the team might discuss a user story like, as a user, I want to log in, and together identify missing details like, how will forgotten passwords be handled? This collaboration is key to shared understanding and better user stories. Question 11. What is the primary purpose of a sprint goal in Scrum? A. To define the exact scope of features to be delivered by the end of the sprint. B. To provide a short, overarching objective that the sprint aims to achieve, guiding the team's work. C. To list all the individual tasks that each team member must complete during the sprint. D. To serve as a contractual agreement between the development team and the product owner. Answer: B. To provide a short, overarching objective that the sprint aims to achieve, guiding the team's work. The sprint goal is a single, concise objective for the sprint, which provides a clear focus and purpose for the development team. It offers flexibility in terms of the specific work chosen to achieve it, allowing the team to adapt if challenges arise, rather than rigidly adhering to a fixed list of features. For example, a sprint goal could be, enable users to securely log into the system, which is more flexible than listing specific login-related tasks. This goal helps the team understand why they are building the increment and encourages them to work together towards a common aim. Question 12. During a long-running Agile project, the development team notices a significant amount of technical debt accumulating. What is the most effective Agile approach to manage and reduce technical debt? A. Ignore technical debt and prioritize new feature development to maintain stakeholder satisfaction. B. Allocate a portion of each sprint to address technical debt, treating it as high-priority work. C. Assign a dedicated, separate team to handle all technical debt issues. D. Address technical debt only when it leads to a critical system failure. Answer: B. Allocate a portion of each sprint to address technical debt, treating it as high-priority work. Technical debt refers to the long-term consequences of choosing an easy, but suboptimal, solution now instead of using a better approach that would take longer. In Agile, it's crucial to address technical debt proactively to prevent it from slowing down future development and increasing maintenance costs. By dedicating a small portion of each sprint to refactoring, improving code quality, or fixing architectural issues, the team can gradually pay down this debt. For example, a team might spend 1 day per sprint refactoring a complex module or updating outdated libraries. This continuous attention prevents debt from becoming unmanageable and maintains the product's long-term health. Question 13. Which of the following best describes the concept of servant leadership in an Agile context? A. The leader makes all decisions and directs the team's daily tasks. B. The leader serves the team by providing what they need, removing impediments, and coaching them to self-organize. C. The leader prioritizes individual performance metrics over team collaboration. D. The leader focuses primarily on managing budgets and schedules, delegating all people-related issues. Answer: B. The leader serves the team by providing what they need, removing impediments, and coaching them to self-organize. Servant leadership is a key principle in Agile, particularly evident in the Scrum Master role. It describes a leader who prioritizes the growth and well-being of their team members, focusing on empowering them, removing obstacles, and providing guidance and resources rather than commanding or controlling them. For instance, a servant leader might help a developer get access to a specific tool or coach the team on conflict resolution. This leadership style fosters self-organization, autonomy, and continuous improvement within the team. Question 14. A key benefit of conducting frequent inspections and adaptations in Agile projects is to A. Ensure strict adherence to the initial project plan and baseline. B. Minimize stakeholder involvement and feedback throughout the project lifecycle. C. Maximize opportunities for learning, course correction, and value delivery. D. Increase the project's overall documentation burden for auditing purposes. Answer: C. Maximize opportunities for learning, course correction, and value delivery. Agile methodologies are founded on the principles of empiricism, which involves frequent inspection of progress and adaptation based on what is learned. By regularly inspecting the product, process, and team dynamics, and then adapting plans or approaches, Agile teams can respond quickly to changes, correct course if necessary, and ensure they are always delivering the most valuable increments. For example, inspecting the product in a sprint review helps ensure it meets current needs, while inspecting the process in a retrospective helps the team improve how they work. This iterative approach directly supports continuous learning and value optimization. Question 15. A product owner is struggling to prioritize an extensive product backlog. Many stakeholders have conflicting ideas about what is most important. Which Agile prioritization technique would be most beneficial for the product owner in this scenario? A. First in, first out, FIFO. B. Moscow, must have, should have, could have, want have. C. Random selection. D. Prioritization solely based on technical complexity. Answer: B. Moscow, must have, should have, could have, want have. Moscow is a common Agile prioritization technique that helps stakeholders and the product owner categorize requirements based on their importance relative to a specific delivery time box or project goal. By classifying features as must-have, critical, should have, important but not vital, could have, nice to have, or want have, out of scope, it facilitates discussions and achieves a shared understanding of priorities, especially when stakeholders have conflicting views. For example, a secure login would be a must-have, while a customizable theme might be a could-have. This technique simplifies complex prioritization decisions by providing clear categories. Question 16. What is the recommended duration for a sprint in Scrum? A. A minimum of 30 days to ensure substantial progress. B. Typically 2 to 4 weeks, allowing for frequent inspection and adaptation. C. As long as needed to complete all planned features, regardless of time. D. 1 week maximum to ensure continuous delivery. Answer: B. Typically 2 to 4 weeks, allowing for frequent inspection and adaptation. The Scrum Guide recommends that sprints, also known as iterations, are time-boxed to 1 month or less, with 2 to 4 weeks being the most common duration. This short, consistent time box allows for frequent inspection of the working increment during the sprint review and adaptation of the process during the sprint retrospective. For example, a 2-week sprint provides a rapid feedback loop, allowing the team to learn and adjust quickly if something isn't working or if requirements change. Shorter sprints generally lead to more frequent learning cycles and faster delivery of value. Question 17. A new Agile team is trying to estimate user stories for their first sprint. They are debating between using man-hours or story points. Which approach is generally preferred in Agile, and why? A. Man-hours, because it provides a precise measure of individual effort. B. Story points, because they are a relative measure of effort, complexity, and uncertainty. C. Man-hours, because it directly links to traditional project management metrics. D. Story points, because they can be easily converted to exact calendar days. Answer: B. Story points, because they are a relative measure of effort, complexity, and uncertainty. In Agile, story points are generally preferred over man-hours for estimating work. Story points are an abstract, unitless measure of the overall effort, complexity, and uncertainty involved in implementing a user story, rather than just time. They are assigned relatively, comparing the current story to previously completed ones, which helps the team avoid over-focusing on precise time estimates which are often inaccurate for complex work. For instance, a story estimated at 8 points might be twice as complex or uncertain as a 4-point story, irrespective of the exact hours it takes. This relative sizing fosters team collaboration and acknowledges inherent uncertainties in complex work. Question 18. What is the primary benefit of continuous integration in an agile development environment? A. It eliminates the need for separate testing phases. B. It ensures that all code changes are merged and tested frequently, reducing integration issues. C. It allows developers to work in isolation without affecting others' code. D. It provides a fixed schedule for software releases to customers. Answer: B. It ensures that all code changes are merged and tested frequently, reducing integration issues. Continuous integration, CI, is an agile engineering practice where developers frequently merge their code changes into a central repository, typically multiple times a day. After each merge, automated builds and tests are run to detect integration errors early. This practice significantly reduces the complexity and risk of integrating large codebases, making it easier to identify and fix bugs. For example, instead of merging all changes at the end of a sprint, which can lead to integration hell, CI ensures smaller, more manageable merges. This frequent integration helps maintain a clean and stable code base, supporting continuous delivery. Question 19. An agile project team has delivered a product increment, but during the sprint review, stakeholders realize that a crucial non-functional requirement, e.g., performance, security, was not adequately addressed. What is the most appropriate agile response? A. Blame the development team for missing the requirement and redo the work. B. Add user stories or tasks to the product backlog to address the non-functional requirement in future sprints. C. Force the team to stop current work and immediately fix the non-functional requirement within the current sprint. D. Ignore the issue, as non-functional requirements are often less critical than functional ones. Answer: B. Add user stories or tasks to the product backlog to address the non-functional requirement in future sprints. Non-functional requirements, NFRs, such as performance, security, or usability, are critical aspects of product quality and should be treated with the same importance as functional requirements in Agile. If an NFR is found to be deficient during a review, the appropriate Agile response is to capture it as new work, e.g., user stories, technical tasks, or epics, in the product backlog. The product owner then prioritizes these items along with other work for future sprints. For instance, if the system is too slow, a story like, as a user, I need page load times under 2 seconds, would be added. This ensures NFRs are addressed systematically and iteratively. Question 20. What is the primary benefit of self-organizing teams in an agile environment? A. They eliminate the need for any formal leadership or management roles. B. They ensure that all team members are equally productive and skilled. C. They enhance creativity, problem-solving, and adaptability by distributing decision-making. D. They focus solely on individual tasks, leading to faster completion times. Answer: C. They enhance creativity, problem-solving, and adaptability by distributing decision-making. Self-organizing teams are a cornerstone of agile methodologies, meaning the people who do the work determine the best way to accomplish it. This empowerment fosters a sense of ownership, creativity, and accountability among team members, leading to better problem-solving and increased adaptability. For example, instead of a manager dictating tasks, a self-organizing team collaboratively decides how to best tackle a sprint backlog item. This decentralized decision-making often results in more innovative solutions and a more resilient team, as they are equipped to adapt to challenges independently. Question 21. A product owner needs to convey complex requirements for a new feature to the development team. Which agile communication technique would be most effective for ensuring shared understanding? A. Sending a detailed email with a comprehensive requirements document. B. Holding a single, long meeting to explain all requirements at once. C. Utilizing visual aids, prototypes, and interactive discussions during backlog refinement. D. Instructing team members to read through specifications and ask questions later. Answer, C. Utilizing visual aids, prototypes, and interactive discussions during backlog refinement. Agile emphasizes face-to-face communication and rich information exchange to build shared understanding, especially for complex requirements. During backlog refinement, the product owner and development team should collaborate interactively, using visual aids like mock-ups, whiteboards, and prototypes, combined with discussions and questions, to gain a deep, shared understanding of what needs to be built. For example, instead of just describing a complex user interface, showing a clickable prototype allows the team to experience it and ask targeted questions. This collaborative, visual approach reduces misunderstandings and future rework. Question 22. In an agile context, when would a burn-down chart be most commonly used? A. To track the total budget spent over the entire project lifecycle. B. To show the amount of work remaining in a sprint or release over time. C. To illustrate the hierarchical breakdown of project tasks. D. To display the number of bugs found per development cycle. Answer, B. To show the amount of work remaining in a sprint or release over time. A burn-down chart is a graphical representation commonly used in Agile to track progress. It displays the amount of work remaining, typically in story points or hours, against the time left in a sprint or a release. As work is completed, the remaining work line should descend, indicating progress toward the goal. For example, if a team has 50 story points in a sprint, the chart would show how that number decreases daily. This provides a quick visual snapshot of progress and helps the team identify if they are on track to meet their commitments. Question 23. A new product owner struggles with the continuous prioritization and reprioritization of the product backlog. They are concerned about churn and feel they should set the backlog once and stick to it. What Agile principles should the Scrum Master coach them on? A. Individuals and interactions over processes and tools. B. Working software over comprehensive documentation. C. Responding to change over following a plan. D. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. Answer, C. Responding to change over following a plan. The Agile principle, responding to change over following a plan, is fundamental to product backlog management. It recognizes that in dynamic environments, requirements and priorities will evolve, and successful projects embrace this change rather than resisting it. The product owner's role is to continuously refine and reprioritize the backlog based on new information, feedback, and market changes. For instance, if market research reveals a competitor's new feature, the product owner might reprioritize their backlog to include a similar feature. This adaptability ensures the team always works on the most valuable items. Question 24. What is the primary role of the development team in Scrum? A. To manage the project budget and schedule. B. To self-organize and deliver a potentially shippable increment of product functionality in each sprint. C. To define the product vision and manage the product backlog. D. To facilitate Scrum events and remove impediments. Answer, B. To self-organize and deliver a potentially shippable increment of product functionality in each sprint. The development team in Scrum consists of professionals who do the work of delivering a done increment in each sprint. They are self-organizing and cross-functional, meaning they collectively have all the skills necessary to complete the work without relying on external entities. For example, a development team decides how to turn product backlog items into a working solution within the sprint, not an external manager. Their core responsibility is to build the product, iteratively and incrementally, sprint after sprint. Question 25. A project is using a hybrid approach, combining elements of Agile and traditional methods. The project manager wants to ensure continuous stakeholder engagement and feedback while maintaining some level of upfront planning. Which Agile practice would be most beneficial to integrate? A. Detailed, fixed scope contracts. B. Quarterly business reviews with product demonstrations. C. A rigid change control board for all scope changes. D. Extensive upfront documentation and requirements gathering. Answer: B. Quarterly business reviews with product demonstrations. In a hybrid environment, integrating agile practices like frequent demonstrations and reviews, akin to sprint reviews but potentially on a larger cadence, is excellent for continuous stakeholder engagement and feedback. Unlike traditional methods that might have one large review at the end, regular demonstrations of working software allow stakeholders to see progress, provide timely input, and adapt to evolving needs. For example, even if the overall project has a phased plan, having quarterly demonstrations allows for inspection and adaptation of the product being built. This balances upfront planning with Agile's iterative feedback loops. Question 26. When considering organizational change to adopt Agile, what is a key element of the inspect and adapt mindset? A. Avoiding any deviation from the initial Agile implementation plan. B. Continuously evaluating processes and outcomes, then making necessary adjustments. C. Limiting feedback loops to only occur at major project milestones. D. Relying solely on external consultants for all process improvements. Answer: B. Continuously evaluating processes and outcomes, then making necessary adjustments. Inspect and adapt is a core tenet of Agile, emphasizing empiricism and continuous improvement. It means regularly examining the current state of processes, products, and practices, and then making necessary adjustments based on the insights gained. This mindset promotes learning and flexibility, allowing the organization to evolve its Agile implementation over time. For example, after trying a new way of conducting daily stand-ups, the team would inspect its effectiveness and adapt the practice if it wasn't working well. This iterative improvement is vital for successful Agile adoption. Question 27. What is the primary purpose of a spike in Agile development? A. To quickly implement a high-priority user story in a single day. B. To perform a short, time-boxed research or exploration activity to reduce uncertainty. C. To identify and remove a technical impediment that is blocking the team. D. To conduct a preliminary test of a newly developed feature. Answer: B. To perform a short, time-boxed research or exploration activity to reduce uncertainty. A spike is a small, time-boxed technical or investigative task in Agile, specifically designed to reduce uncertainty or risk around a technical solution or a complex user story. It's not about building shippable product functionality but about learning. For example, if a team is unsure which database technology to use, they might run a spike to build a small prototype or research different options to gain clarity before committing to a full implementation. This proactive approach helps the team make informed decisions and reduces potential rework later. Question 28. An Agile team is performing a sprint review. A stakeholder suggests a major change to a feature that has just been demonstrated. What should be the product owner's immediate action? A. Agree to implement the change immediately in the current sprint. B. Decline the change, stating the sprint is complete. C. Capture the suggestion as a new or modified item in the product backlog for future consideration and prioritization. D. Ask the development team to estimate the effort for the change on the spot. Answer: C. Capture the suggestion as a new or modified item in the product backlog for future consideration and prioritization. The sprint review is a formal opportunity to inspect the increment and adapt the product backlog. When stakeholders suggest changes or new ideas, the product owner's role is to capture this valuable feedback. These suggestions are then added to the product backlog as new items or modifications to existing ones and are prioritized against all other potential work, ensuring that the most valuable items are tackled in subsequent sprints. For instance, if a stakeholder wants a new filter added to a report, the product owner would add, as a user, "I want to filter reports by date range," to the backlog. This maintains flexibility while respecting the current sprint's commitment. Question 29. Which of the following best describes the Agile Manifesto value, customer collaboration over contract negotiation? A. Legal contracts are entirely unnecessary in Agile projects. B. Working closely with customers throughout the project is more effective than rigid, detailed contracts. C. Customers should dictate every single detail of the project requirements up front. D. Agile projects do not involve any formal agreements with customers. Answer: B. Working closely with customers throughout the project is more effective than rigid, detailed contracts. The Agile Manifesto emphasizes continuous, close collaboration with the customer as a primary means of ensuring the product meets their evolving needs. While contracts are still necessary for defining the overall scope and terms, the focus shifts from rigid contract negotiation to fostering an ongoing partnership where customer feedback and changing requirements are embraced. For example, instead of a 100-page fixed-price contract, an Agile team might use a flexible agreement with regular payment for delivered value, fostering continuous dialogue. This collaborative approach leads to a more valuable and relevant product. Question 30. A Scrum team frequently finds themselves with incomplete work at the end of a sprint. What is the most likely cause of this issue, and what artifact should they review to understand it better? A. Lack of team bonding, they should review their team charter. B. Overcommitment or unrealistic planning, they should review the sprint backlog and definition of done. C. Too many daily stand-ups, they should review the meeting schedule. D. Insufficient technical skills, they should review individual training plans. Answer: B. Overcommitment or unrealistic planning, they should review the sprint backlog and definition of done. Incomplete work at the end of a sprint often indicates that the team has committed to more work than they can realistically finish within the sprint's time box, or their definition of done is not consistently applied. The sprint backlog lists the items the team plans to complete, and comparing it to the actual work done, alongside the definition of done, reveals if planning was too ambitious or if completion criteria weren't met. For instance, if a team consistently pulls 10 stories but only completes 6, they are likely overcommitting, and should adjust their sprint planning based on their actual velocity. Question 31. What is the purpose of a release plan in Agile? A. To provide a fixed, detailed schedule for every feature to be delivered over the project's entire lifecycle. B. To outline the potential roadmap for future product increments, usually covering several sprints. C. To document the specific tasks for individual team members within a single sprint. D. To serve as a legal contract guaranteeing the delivery of all features by a certain date. Answer: B. To outline the potential roadmap for future product increments, usually covering several sprints. A release plan in Agile provides a high-level, flexible roadmap for delivering a set of features or a valuable product increment over several sprints. It is a forecast, not a fixed commitment, and helps align stakeholders on the broader direction and expected value delivery. For example, a release plan might outline that Phase 1 will deliver core user authentication and profile management within the next 3 sprints. It helps in strategic planning and communication, allowing for mid-course corrections based on feedback and learning. Question 32. In a Kanban system, what does the term WIP limit refer to? A. The maximum number of work items that can be completed within a single day. B. The total budget allocated for a specific work item. C. The maximum number of items that can be in a particular column or stage of the workflow at any given time. D. The minimum number of team members required to complete a task. Answer: C. The maximum number of items that can be in a particular column or stage of the workflow at any given time. WIP, work in progress, limits are a core practice in Kanban. They define the maximum number of items that can be simultaneously active within a specific stage or column of the workflow. The purpose of WIP limits is to improve flow, reduce context switching, and identify bottlenecks. For instance, if the development column has a WIP limit of 3, developers cannot start a fourth task until one of the existing 3 moves to the next stage. This encourages finishing work before starting new work, improving efficiency and quality. Question 33. Which Agile principle emphasizes face-to-face conversation as the most efficient and effective method of conveying information to and within a development team? A. Simplicity. B. Self-organizing teams. C. Individuals and interactions. D. Technical excellence. Answer: C. Individuals and interactions. The Agile Manifesto principle, individuals and interactions over processes and tools, highlights the importance of direct, human communication. It suggests that while processes and tools have their place, the most effective way to share information, build understanding, and resolve issues within a team is through direct, face-to-face conversation. For example, instead of sending a detailed email about a bug, talking directly to the developer who wrote the code is often faster and clearer. This principle fosters strong team collaboration and reduces misunderstandings. Question 34. What is the primary purpose of a user story in Agile? A. To provide a comprehensive, detailed specification for a software feature. B. To describe a feature from the perspective of an end user, focusing on value. C. To serve as a legally binding contract between the development team and the customer. D. To document every single task required to complete a project. Answer: B. To describe a feature from the perspective of an end user, focusing on value. A user story is a concise, high-level description of a feature or piece of functionality from the perspective of the person who desires the new capability, usually in the format, as a type of user, I want, some goal, so that, some reason/benefit. Its primary purpose is to articulate value and facilitate conversation about requirements, rather than being a detailed specification. For instance, as a customer, I want to track my order so that I know when it will arrive. This format helps the team understand the user's need and the value the feature provides. Question 35. A project manager is leading a large, complex Agile project that involves multiple Scrum teams. What framework is designed to help scale Scrum for larger initiatives? A. Prince2. B. Waterfall model. C. SAFe, Scaled Agile Framework, or less, Large-Scale Scrum. D. Critical Path Method. Answer: C. SAFe, Scaled Agile Framework, or less, Large-Scale Scrum. When multiple Scrum teams need to coordinate their efforts on a larger, interdependent product, scaled Agile frameworks are employed. Frameworks like SAFe, Scaled Agile Framework, and less, Large-Scale Scrum, provide structures, roles, and events to align multiple Agile teams, manage dependencies, and deliver value at an enterprise level. For example, SAFe introduces concepts like Agile release trains to synchronize multiple teams working towards a common solution. These frameworks enable the benefits of Agile to be realized at a larger organizational scale. Question 36. During a sprint, the product owner realizes that a key market shift requires a significant change to the current sprint goal. What should the product owner do? A. Insist the team completes the original sprint goal before discussing any changes. B. Inform the team and suggest they abandon the sprint and start a new one with the revised goal. C. Collaborate with the development team and Scrum Master to determine if the sprint goal still holds or if the sprint needs to be cancelled. D. Independently change the sprint goal and update the sprint backlog for the team. Answer: C. Collaborate with the development team and Scrum Master to determine if the sprint goal still holds or if the sprint needs to be cancelled. The sprint goal should remain stable during a sprint, but market shifts or critical new information can sometimes necessitate a change. If the sprint goal becomes obsolete, the product owner has the authority to cancel the sprint, but this should be a rare occurrence and done in collaboration with the development team and Scrum Master. They would assess the impact and decide if the current work is still valuable or if a fresh start is needed. For example, if a competitor releases a groundbreaking feature that invalidates the sprint goal, canceling and replanning might be the best option. This collaborative decision minimizes wasted effort and ensures the team remains focused on delivering value. Question 37. Which of the following is a common Agile metric used to measure the amount of work a development team can complete in a single sprint? A. Earned value, EV. B. Return on investment, ROI. C. Velocity. D. Critical path. Answer: C. Velocity. Velocity is a key Agile metric that measures the amount of work, typically measured in story points, a development team completes and does during a single sprint. It's used as a planning tool to forecast how much work the team can realistically commit to in future sprints, based on their past performance. For example, if a team consistently completes 30 story points per sprint, their velocity is 30. This empirical data helps the team make more accurate commitments and is a valuable input for release planning. Question 38. A project team is practicing extreme programming, XP. What is a core XP practice that involves two developers working together at one workstation on the same code? A. Daily stand-up. B. Code review. C. Pair programming. D. Test-driven development, TDD. Answer: C. Pair programming. Pair programming is a core practice in extreme programming, XP, where two programmers work together at one workstation, collaborating on the same code. One developer, the driver, writes code, while the other, the navigator, reviews the code as it's written, thinks about the bigger picture, and identifies potential issues or alternative approaches. This practice improves code quality, facilitates knowledge sharing, reduces defects, and enhances team cohesion. For instance, two developers might work together on a complex algorithm, catching errors in real time. It's a continuous, collaborative code review that strengthens the team's output. Question 39. In an Agile project, who is primarily responsible for removing impediments that hinder the development team's progress? A. The project manager. B. The product owner. C. The Scrum Master. D. Individual team members. Answer: C. The Scrum Master. The Scrum Master serves the development team primarily by removing impediments that block their progress. While team members might resolve minor issues themselves, for larger or external blockers, e.g., lack of resources, organizational hurdles, technical issues outside the team's control, the Scrum Master steps in to facilitate their removal. For example, if a team needs a specific software license, the Scrum Master would work to acquire it. This role ensures the team can stay focused on delivering value without getting bogged down by external obstacles. Question 40. A project's stakeholders are complaining that the Agile team is not delivering value frequently enough. Which of the following Agile principles addresses this concern? A. Simplicity, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done, is essential. B. Deliver working software frequently, from a couple of weeks to a couple of months, with a preference to the shorter timescale. C. Build projects around motivated individuals. D. Agile processes promote sustainable development. Answer: B. Deliver working software frequently, from a couple of weeks to a couple of months, with a preference to the shorter timescale. This Agile Manifesto principle directly addresses the concern of infrequent value delivery. Agile emphasizes delivering small, usable increments of working software on a regular basis, often every few weeks. This provides early and continuous value to stakeholders, allows for frequent feedback, and reduces the risk of building the wrong product. For instance, instead of delivering a large system once a year, an Agile team might deliver a new feature every 2 weeks. This focus on frequent delivery is a cornerstone of Agile's empirical approach. Question 41. What is the role of continuous delivery in an Agile project? A. To ensure that all code is manually reviewed before deployment. B. To automate the process of building, testing, and deploying software to production environments frequently and reliably. C. To deliver all project documentation to stakeholders on a continuous basis. D. To allow developers to work on features for extended periods without releasing them. Answer: B. To automate the process of building, testing, and deploying software to production environments frequently and reliably. Continuous delivery, CD, is an Agile practice that extends continuous integration by ensuring that software can be released to production at any time. It involves automating the entire pipeline from code commit to deployment, including building, testing, and staging. This reduces the risk and effort involved in releases, making deployments a routine, low-stress event. For example, after a new feature is integrated and tested, CD allows it to be deployed to a staging environment with a single click, ready for release. The goal is to make frequent, reliable releases a common practice. Question 42. During a sprint planning meeting, the development team commits to a set of product backlog items. What is the purpose of this commitment? A. To legally bind the team to deliver every single item regardless of unforeseen issues. B. To serve as a forecast of the work they believe they can realistically deliver within the sprint. C. To assign specific tasks to individual team members for performance evaluation. D. To establish a fixed scope that cannot be changed throughout the sprint. Answer: B. To serve as a forecast of the work they believe they can realistically deliver within the sprint. During sprint planning, the development team selects product backlog items they believe they can complete in the upcoming sprint, creating the sprint backlog and defining a sprint goal. This is a forecast or a commitment, meaning it's their best estimate of what's achievable, not a rigid promise that cannot adapt to new information or challenges. For example, if an unexpected technical issue arises, the team might adjust their scope slightly, while still aiming for the sprint goal. This flexibility acknowledges the inherent uncertainty in complex development and encourages realistic planning. Question 43. A Scrum team is consistently missing its sprint goals, even though team members are working diligently. During the sprint retrospective, what topic should be a primary focus for discussion to help improve future performance? A. How to implement a stricter time tracking system for individual tasks. B. The effectiveness of their estimation process and sprint planning. C. A detailed analysis of individual team member productivity. D. How to avoid all external interruptions during the sprint. Answer: B. The effectiveness of their estimation process and sprint planning. If a Scrum team is consistently missing sprint goals, it often points to issues with their initial sprint planning and estimation processes. The sprint retrospective is the ideal forum for the team to inspect how they select and estimate work, discuss if they are overcommitting, and identify improvements to make their planning more realistic. For example, they might realize their story point estimates are consistently too low or that they're not accounting for unexpected work. Improving these aspects will help them make more accurate commitments and achieve their goals. Question 44. What is the core characteristic of a time-boxed event in Agile frameworks like Scrum? A. The event must be completed as quickly as possible, without a set end time. B. The event has a maximum fixed duration, regardless of how much work is left. C. The event can be extended if the team needs more time to complete its objectives. D. The event starts only when all prerequisites are perfectly met. Answer: B. The event has a maximum fixed duration, regardless of how much work is left. A time box means that an event has a maximum duration, and once that time is up, the event ends, even if not all topics have been fully discussed or all items have been finalized. This creates focus and encourages efficiency within the event. For example, the daily scrum is time-boxed to 15 minutes, meaning it ends precisely after 15 minutes, even if a discussion is ongoing, and any remaining topics are taken offline. This strict time limit ensures events are concise and productive, promoting a rhythm in the Agile process. Question 45. In an Agile context, what is the primary purpose of a product vision? A. To provide a detailed, immutable blueprint of the final product. B. To describe the long-term strategic goal and purpose of the product. C. To list all the features that will be delivered in the first release. D. To define the team's internal working agreements for each sprint. Answer: B. To describe the long-term strategic goal and purpose of the product. The product vision is a high-level, aspirational statement that defines the ultimate goal, purpose, and direction of the product. It provides clarity on why the product is being built and what impact it aims to achieve, guiding all subsequent decisions and helping the team stay aligned. For example, a product vision might be to be the leading platform for seamless, secure online payments. It's stable but can evolve over time, acting as a compass for the entire product journey and helping the product owner prioritize the backlog. Question 46. What does the term inspect and adapt refer to in Agile methodologies? A. A rigid control process to ensure compliance with predefined standards. B. The continuous practice of examining current progress and adjusting plans based on observations. C. A final review phase conducted only at the very end of a project. D. A method for auditing team members' individual performance. Answer: B. The continuous practice of examining current progress and adjusting plans based on observations. Inspect and adapt is a core principle of empiricism, which is fundamental to Agile. It refers to the continuous cycle of observing what has been done, reflecting on the outcomes, and then making necessary adjustments to the plans, processes, or product. For example, during a sprint review, the team inspects the product increment, and during a sprint retrospective, they inspect their process, adapting their approach based on what they learn. This iterative feedback loop enables continuous improvement and responsiveness to change. Question 47. A large organization is struggling with resistance to change during its Agile transformation. Many employees are comfortable with the old ways of working. Which Agile value is most critical to foster in this situation? A. Working software. B. Comprehensive documentation. C. Individuals and interactions. D. Following a plan. Answer: C. Individuals and interactions. When facing resistance to change during an Agile transformation, fostering individuals and interactions over processes and tools is crucial. This value emphasizes the human element, communication, collaboration, understanding, and empathy. Instead of imposing new processes, focusing on open dialogue, coaching, and engaging people directly helps address fears, build trust, and gain buy-in. For example, providing opportunities for employees to share concerns and collaboratively find solutions is more effective than simply rolling out new tools. Change is primarily a human endeavor, and focusing on interactions helps people embrace new ways of working. Question 48. What is the primary purpose of a definition of ready in Agile, if used? A. To ensure that a user story is fully detailed and ready to be estimated by the team. B. To define when a product backlog item is complete and can be released to users. C. To outline the criteria for a sprint to be considered successful. D. To specify the skills required for a development team member. Answer: A. To ensure that a user story is fully detailed and ready to be estimated by the team. While not a formal Scrum artifact, a definition of ready is often adopted by Agile teams to ensure that a product backlog item, typically a user story, has sufficient detail, clarity, and is small enough to be effectively pulled into a sprint by the development team. It acts as a checklist, ensuring the team doesn't start work on poorly defined items. For example, a DoD might state that a story is ready if it's clear, testable, estimated, and small enough to fit in a sprint. This helps prevent mid-sprint confusion and rework, promoting smoother sprint execution. Question 49. In a Scrum environment, who is responsible for ordering the items in the product backlog to best achieve goals and missions? A. The Scrum Master. B. The development team. C. The project manager. D. The product owner. Answer: D. The product owner. The product owner is singularly responsible for maximizing the value of the product resulting from the work of the development team. This includes the effective management of the product backlog, which involves ordering the items to best achieve strategic goals. For example, the product owner decides if a new feature addressing critical customer feedback is more important than a planned technical improvement, and reorders the backlog accordingly. Their role is to ensure the most valuable work is always prioritized and delivered first. Question 50. What is the benefit of cross-functional teams in Agile? A. They eliminate the need for any specialized skills within the organization. B. They ensure that individual team members only work on tasks related to their specific expertise. C. They possess all the necessary skills within the team to complete the work without external dependencies. D. They allow for more traditional, hierarchical management structures. Answer: C. They possess all the necessary skills within the team to complete the work without external dependencies. A cross-functional team in Agile means that the team collectively possesses all the diverse skills required to create a done increment, from design to development to testing. This reduces reliance on external teams or individuals, streamlines communication, and minimizes dependencies, allowing the team to be self-sufficient and deliver value efficiently. For example, a cross-functional team wouldn't need to wait for a separate testing department to validate their work. They have testers built into the team. This promotes faster flow and integrated problem-solving. Question 51. A project has just begun, and the product owner is overwhelmed by the sheer number of ideas and potential features. What Agile practice should the product owner use to start organizing these ideas into a manageable backlog? A. Conduct a detailed work breakdown structure, WBS, for all features. B. Begin writing comprehensive technical specifications for each idea. C. Create a high-level product roadmap and start with epic and user story creation. D. Immediately assign all ideas to different team members for implementation. Answer: C. Create a high-level product roadmap and start with epic and user story creation. When faced with a multitude of ideas, the product owner should begin by establishing a high-level product roadmap, which outlines the strategic direction and major themes for the product. From this, they can start breaking down large ideas into epics, and then gradually refine epics into smaller, manageable user stories. This approach provides structure and allows for iterative detailing, without getting bogged down in specifics too early. For example, a roadmap might have a theme like enhanced user security, which then contains an epic like multi-factor authentication, eventually leading to individual user stories. Question 52. What is the primary focus of lean principles in an Agile context? A. Maximizing resource utilization and keeping all team members busy. B. Eliminating waste and maximizing value delivery to the customer. C. Creating detailed documentation for all project phases. D. Strictly adhering to a fixed plan and budget. Answer: B. Eliminating waste and maximizing value delivery to the customer. Lean principles are highly influential in Agile and focus on maximizing customer value while minimizing waste. Waste in this context refers to anything that doesn't add value to the end product, such as unnecessary features, excessive documentation, waiting, or defects. By identifying and eliminating waste, Agile teams can deliver value more efficiently. For example, a lean thinking team would question if a complex reporting tool truly provides value before building it, or they might streamline their deployment process to reduce waiting time. The core idea is, more value, less waste. Question 53. An Agile team is performing sprint planning. They are trying to decide which product backlog items to pull into the upcoming sprint. What is the most important factor for the team to consider? A. The number of team members available for the sprint. B. The product owner's mandate for what must be delivered. C. The team's historical velocity and the definition of done. D. The total number of hours worked by the team in the previous sprint. Answer: C. The team's historical velocity and the definition of done. During sprint planning, the development team uses its historical velocity as an empirical guide to forecast how much work it can realistically complete in the upcoming sprint. They also consider the definition of done to ensure that any selected items can be truly completed to a done state within the sprint. For example, if their average velocity is 25 story points and a story is 8 points, they know they can likely pull 3 stories of that size, assuming they meet the DoD. This data-driven approach helps them make realistic commitments. Question 54. What is the primary difference between a burn-down chart and a burn-up chart in Agile? A. A burn-down chart tracks completed work, while a burn-up chart tracks remaining work. B. A burn-down chart shows work remaining, trending downwards, while a burn-up chart shows work completed, trending upwards. C. A burn-down chart is used for sprints, and a burn-up chart is used for releases. D. A burn-down chart is for individual tasks, and a burn-up chart is for overall project progress. Answer: B. A burn-down chart shows work remaining, trending downwards, while a burn-up chart shows work completed, trending upwards. Both burn-down and burn-up charts are used to visualize progress in Agile. A burn-down chart shows the amount of work remaining over time, so its line trends downwards towards zero as work is completed. A burn-up chart, conversely, shows the amount of work completed over time, so its line trends upwards towards the total scope. A key advantage of the burn-up chart is that it can also show the total scope line, allowing for visualization of scope changes. For example, a burn-down might show 50 points remaining, while a burn-up would show 20 points completed out of a total 70. Question 55. A new Agile team member is struggling to understand the concept of minimum viable product, MVP. How would you best explain it to them? A. The absolute minimum set of features required to launch a product, regardless of market needs. B. A product with just enough features to satisfy early adopters and provide feedback for future development. C. A fully functional product that includes all desired features for a complete market release. D. A prototype that is shown to stakeholders but not released to actual users. Answer: B. A product with just enough features to satisfy early adopters and provide feedback for future development. A minimum viable product, MVP, is a version of a new product which allows a team to collect the maximum amount of validated learning about customers with the least effort. It contains only the core features necessary to deliver value to early adopters and test key hypotheses, rather than being a complete product. For instance, a video streaming MVP might only allow users to upload and watch videos, without features like playlists or comments, to quickly gather feedback on the core viewing experience. The goal is to learn rapidly and iteratively build upon that foundation. Question 56. What is the most effective approach for an agile team to manage risks? A. Identify all risks up front and create a comprehensive risk mitigation plan for the entire project. B. Proactively identify, assess, and address risks iteratively throughout the project, embracing uncertainty. C. Delegate all risk management responsibilities to a separate risk management department. D. Ignore risks unless they become critical issues, then react immediately. Answer: B. Proactively identify, assess, and address risks iteratively throughout the project, embracing uncertainty. Agile approaches embrace uncertainty and manage risks iteratively rather than attempting to fully predict and control them upfront. Teams continuously identify, assess, and prioritize risks, integrating risk response activities into their regular work, such as during sprint planning or backlog refinement. For example, if a high-risk technical component is identified, the team might create a spike to de-risk it early. This proactive, continuous approach allows for adaptation as new information emerges, reducing the impact of unforeseen issues. Question 57. A product owner is about to hold a sprint review meeting. What is the primary goal of this meeting? A. To plan the next sprint and commit to new product backlog items. B. To discuss internal team processes and identify improvements for the next sprint. C. To inspect the increment, gather feedback from stakeholders, and adapt the product backlog. D. To resolve all technical impediments faced by the development team. Answer: C. To inspect the increment, gather feedback from stakeholders, and adapt the product backlog. The sprint review is a formal Scrum event held at the end of each sprint. Its main purpose is for the Scrum team and stakeholders to collaborate on what was done in the sprint, inspect the done increment, and collectively decide what to do next. This involves demonstrating the completed work and gathering feedback that helps the product owner update and reprioritize the product backlog for future sprints. For instance, showing a new search feature allows users to provide input directly, influencing future iterations. Question 58. A company is considering adopting Agile. One of the main concerns is how to measure progress and performance without traditional detailed Gantt charts. What is a common Agile approach to tracking progress? A. Rely solely on individual team member subjective reports. B. Use transparent information radiators like Kanban boards, burn-down charts, and velocity. C. Develop a comprehensive earned value management system for each sprint. D. Conduct daily, formal project status meetings with all stakeholders. Answer: B. Use transparent information radiators like Kanban boards, burn-down charts, and velocity. Agile projects prioritize transparency and rely on information radiators to visualize work progress and team performance. Tools like Kanban boards show the flow of work, burn-down charts track remaining work against time, and velocity provides an empirical measure of completed work. These tools offer real-time insights into progress, making it easy for both the team and stakeholders to understand the current state. For example, a shared Kanban board immediately shows if tasks are stalled or if WIP limits are being respected. Question 59. What is the primary responsibility of the product owner regarding the product backlog? A. To ensure the backlog is implemented by the development team within the sprint. B. To manage and clearly communicate the product backlog, ensuring it is transparent and understood. C. To create all the tasks derived from product backlog items for the development team. D. To protect the development team from any changes to the product backlog. Answer: B. To manage and clearly communicate the product backlog, ensuring it is transparent and understood. The product owner is solely responsible for managing the product backlog. This includes creating, clearly expressing, ordering, and ensuring the transparency and understanding of product backlog items to all stakeholders and the development team. While the team implements, and the Scrum Master facilitates, the product owner maintains the backlog's health and accessibility. For example, they might work with the team during backlog refinement to clarify stories, making them understandable to everyone. This clear communication is vital for effective product development. Question 60. An Agile team is experiencing frequent arguments and misunderstandings during their daily work. Which of the following Agile values should the team reinforce to improve their collaboration? A. Focus. B. Openness. C. Commitment. D. Respect. Answer: D. Respect. The Agile value of respect emphasizes valuing diverse opinions, skills, and perspectives within the team and with stakeholders. When a team experiences frequent arguments and misunderstandings, fostering mutual respect is crucial. It encourages active listening, understanding different viewpoints, and creating a safe environment for open dialogue without personal attacks. For example, if two developers disagree on an architectural approach, respect means listening to each other's reasoning and finding a constructive solution. Cultivating respect helps build trust and healthy team dynamics. Question 61. A project team decides to adopt an Agile approach. What is one of the foundational principles that guides their interactions and decision-making? A. Fixed scope and detailed upfront planning. B. High bureaucratic overhead and formal change requests. C. Iterative development and continuous feedback. D. Centralized control and command. Answer: C. Iterative development and continuous feedback. A core foundation of Agile approaches is iterative development, where work is done in short cycles, iterations or sprints, and continuous feedback loops are built into the process. This allows the team to learn, adapt, and refine the product based on real-world input, making the process flexible and responsive to change. For example, instead of a single, long development phase, Agile breaks it down into many smaller cycles, with each cycle producing a working increment and collecting feedback. This constant refinement ensures the product evolves to meet true needs. Question 62. What is the primary purpose of a burn-down chart in Scrum? A. To track the total effort remaining in a sprint and forecast its completion. B. To monitor the individual performance of each team member. C. To visualize the budget spent versus the budget remaining. D. To document all technical dependencies across multiple teams. Answer: A. To track the total effort remaining in a sprint and forecast its completion. A burn-down chart is a visual tool that displays the amount of work remaining, typically in story points or hours, in a sprint against the time left. It helps the development team and stakeholders quickly see if the team is on track to complete the sprint goal. As work is finished, the remaining work line should trend downwards. For example, if the line is flattening, it indicates potential delays, prompting the team to discuss and adapt. It's an excellent way to maintain transparency and forecast progress. Question 63. A Scrum team has completed a sprint. What is the next event they should hold, according to the Scrum framework? A. Sprint planning for the next sprint. B. Daily Scrum. C. Sprint retrospective. D. Product backlog refinement. Answer: C. Sprint retrospective. According to the Scrum Guide, the sprint retrospective is the last event of the sprint, providing an opportunity for the Scrum team to inspect itself and create a plan for improvements to be enacted during the next sprint. It comes before the next sprint planning. For example, after reviewing the increment in the sprint review, the team then reflects on how they worked during the sprint in the retrospective. This specific ordering ensures continuous process improvement based on recent experience. Question 64. What is the primary benefit of small, frequent releases in an Agile project? A. It eliminates the need for extensive testing. B. It increases the total cost of the project due to more overhead. C. It enables early feedback, reduces risk, and allows for quicker market responsiveness. D. It limits the scope of the project, making it smaller and less complex. Answer: C. It enables early feedback, reduces risk, and allows for quicker market responsiveness. Small, frequent releases of working software are a cornerstone of Agile delivery. By releasing increments often, teams can gather early feedback from real users, which significantly reduces the risk of building the wrong product. It also allows the business to respond quickly to market changes or new opportunities. For instance, instead of waiting a year for a big release, a team can push out valuable features every few weeks, allowing customers to use them and provide input immediately. This rapid feedback loop ensures the product remains valuable and aligned with customer needs. Question 65. In an Agile project, who is ultimately responsible for the return on investment, ROI, of the product being developed? A. The development team. B. The Scrum Master. C. The project manager, if applicable. D. The product owner. Answer: D. The product owner. The product owner is primarily accountable for maximizing the value of the product resulting from the work of the development team. This responsibility includes optimizing the return on investment, ROI, by ensuring the most valuable items are prioritized in the product backlog and delivered first. For example, the product owner might prioritize a feature that generates significant revenue over one that offers only minor usability improvements, based on market analysis. Their decisions directly impact the business value and profitability of the product. Question 66. A Scrum team has been working together for several sprints. They notice a recurring pattern of communication breakdowns between developers and testers within the team. During the next sprint retrospective, what action would the Scrum Master likely encourage? A. Create a formal communication plan with detailed protocols. B. Facilitate a discussion to identify root causes and brainstorm solutions for improved internal collaboration. C. Suggest segregating developers and testers into separate subteams. D. Recommend a strict policy that all communication must go through the Scrum Master. Answer: B. Facilitate a discussion to identify root causes and brainstorm solutions for improved internal collaboration. The sprint retrospective is the ideal forum for the Scrum team to discuss their processes, tools, and interactions to identify improvements. If communication breakdowns are recurring, the Scrum Master should facilitate an open discussion where the team collaboratively identifies the underlying causes and devises actionable steps to improve their internal collaboration. For example, they might decide to implement a daily sync-up session specifically for testers and developers, or agree on a clearer handoff process. This self-organizing approach empowers the team to solve its own problems. Question 67. What is the primary purpose of relative sizing, e.g., using story points, for estimating work in Agile? A. To provide an exact time estimate for each task. B. To compare the effort, complexity, and uncertainty of user stories against each other. C. To justify hourly billing rates to clients. D. To determine the shortest possible duration for a project. Answer: B. To compare the effort, complexity, and uncertainty of user stories against each other. Relative sizing, often done using story points and techniques like planning poker, is used to estimate the size of a user story compared to other user stories, rather than in absolute time units. It encourages the team to think about the effort, complexity, and uncertainty involved, fostering a more holistic understanding of the work. For example, a team might agree that a user story for resetting a password is twice as complex as changing an email address. This approach leverages the team's collective experience and is generally more accurate for uncertain, creative work. Question 68. Which principle of the Agile Manifesto states that the most efficient and effective method of conveying information to and within a development team is face-to-face conversation? A. Simplicity. B. Self-organizing teams. C. Individuals and interactions. D. Customer collaboration. Answer: C. Individuals and interactions. The Agile Manifesto principle, individuals and interactions over processes and tools, emphasizes the supreme importance of direct human connection and communication. It specifically highlights that face-to-face conversation is the richest and most effective way for team members to convey information, clarify understandings, and resolve issues, minimizing misinterpretations that can occur with written documentation alone. For instance, a quick conversation about a complex feature requirement is often far more efficient and leads to better understanding than a lengthy email exchange. Question 69. A project is using a Kanban board. A new team member asks what the "done" column represents. How would you explain it? A. All tasks that have been assigned to individual team members. B. Work items that are complete and meet the team's definition of done, ready for delivery. C. Tasks that have been started but are currently blocked by an impediment. D. Work items that are awaiting approval from external stakeholders. Answer: B. Work items that are complete and meet the team's definition of done, ready for delivery. In a Kanban system, the "done" column, or the last column on the board, represents work items that have successfully completed all stages of the workflow and meet the team's agreed-upon definition of done. These items are typically ready for deployment or release to the customer, signifying that value has been delivered. For example, once a user story moves to done, it means it's been developed, tested, reviewed, and is fully shippable. It visually represents completed work and the flow of value. Question 70. What is a key characteristic of adaptive planning in Agile? A. It requires all plans to be finalized and approved before any work begins. B. It focuses on creating a single, comprehensive plan for the entire project lifecycle. C. It allows for continuous adjustments to plans based on feedback and changing conditions. D. It delegates all planning responsibilities to a dedicated planning department. Answer: C. It allows for continuous adjustments to plans based on feedback and changing conditions. Adaptive planning is a hallmark of Agile methodologies. Unlike traditional predictive planning, where an effort is made to plan everything up front, adaptive planning embraces the idea that plans will evolve. It involves continuous, iterative planning at various levels, e.g., release, sprint, daily, and regular adjustments based on new information, stakeholder feedback, and lessons learned. For instance, after a sprint review, the product roadmap might be adapted based on user feedback. This flexibility ensures the project remains aligned with the most current understanding of needs. Question 71. Which of the following is a key responsibility of the Scrum Master during a sprint retrospective? A. To report the team's velocity to senior management. B. To decide on the improvements the team must implement in the next sprint. C. To facilitate the meeting, ensuring it is positive, productive, and results in actionable improvements. D. To review the sprint budget and allocate funds for the next sprint. Answer: C. To facilitate the meeting, ensuring it is positive, productive, and results in actionable improvements. The Scrum Master acts as a facilitator for the sprint retrospective, ensuring the event is well-structured, inclusive, and leads to valuable insights and actionable improvements for the team's processes and interactions. They guide the team through discussing what went well, what could be improved, and how to implement those improvements, without dictating solutions. For example, if a discussion becomes negative, the Scrum Master would redirect it to focus on solutions rather than blame. Their facilitation ensures the team continuously learns and improves its way of working. Question 72. What is the primary reason for timeboxing the daily Scrum to 15 minutes? A. To ensure that individual team members do not speak for too long. B. To keep the meeting focused and prevent it from becoming a problem-solving session. C. To allow enough time for a detailed discussion of all project issues. D. To accommodate the busy schedules of all project stakeholders. Answer: B. To keep the meeting focused and prevent it from becoming a problem-solving session. The daily Scrum is timeboxed to 15 minutes to keep it sharp and focused, preventing it from devolving into a lengthy problem-solving or detailed discussion session. Its purpose is for the development team to synchronize their activities and plan for the next 24 hours, not to solve complex problems on the spot. If detailed discussions are needed, they are usually held immediately after the daily Scrum, with only the relevant people. This strict time limit ensures efficiency and helps the team quickly identify impediments. Question 73. A project manager on an Agile project wants to ensure the team consistently delivers high-quality software. Which Agile engineering practice supports this goal through continuous attention to technical excellence and good design? A. Waterfall phases. B. Comprehensive documentation. C. Refactoring and test-driven development, TDD. D. Fixed-price contracts. Answer: C. Refactoring and test-driven development, TDD. Agile promotes technical excellence and good design through practices like refactoring and test-driven development, TDD. Refactoring involves restructuring existing code without changing its external behavior, to improve its internal quality, readability, and maintainability. TDD is a development practice where tests are written before the code, driving the design and ensuring code quality. For example, a team might regularly refactor a complex module to make it easier to understand and extend. These practices contribute to a sustainable pace and high-quality product, reducing technical debt over time. Question 74. In a large organization, multiple Agile teams are working on interdependent features for the same product. What is a key challenge that might arise, and how can it be mitigated in an Agile way? A. Siloed knowledge and lack of coordination, mitigated by introducing a traditional project manager for each team. B. Difficulty in scaling Agile practices, mitigated by increasing bureaucratic oversight for all teams. C. Managing dependencies and achieving alignment across teams, mitigated by Scrum of Scrums or scaled Agile frameworks. D. Overdocumentation and rigid processes, mitigated by requiring more detailed upfront planning. Answer: C. Managing dependencies and achieving alignment across teams, mitigated by Scrum of Scrums or scaled Agile frameworks. A key challenge when scaling Agile to multiple teams is managing inter-team dependencies and ensuring overall alignment towards a common product vision. This can be mitigated by introducing coordination mechanisms like the Scrum of Scrums, where representatives from each Scrum team meet to discuss progress, impediments, and dependencies, or by adopting scaled Agile frameworks like SAFe or LESS, which provide structures for multi-team coordination. For instance, in a Scrum of Scrums, teams might discover an interface dependency and coordinate their sprint planning to resolve it. Question 75. What is the concept of information radiators in Agile? A. Devices that emit radio waves to block external distractions. B. highly visible displays that provide up-to-date project information to the entire team and stakeholders. C. Digital tools used only by the project manager to track progress. D. Confidential reports shared only with senior management. Answer: B. Highly visible displays that provide up-to-date project information to the entire team and stakeholders. Information radiators are highly visible, physical or digital displays, like a whiteboard, Kanban board, or large monitor showing burn-down charts, that make important project information readily accessible and transparent to everyone involved. Their purpose is to provide a quick, visual overview of the project's status, progress, and impediments, fostering shared understanding and reducing the need for formal reporting. For example, a physical Kanban board on the wall serves as an information radiator, allowing anyone to see the flow of work. They promote transparency and collective awareness. Question 76. In an Agile retrospective, the team identifies a process improvement that requires a significant change to their existing tooling. Who should lead the effort to implement this change? A. The product owner, as they prioritize all work. B. The Scrum Master, as they are responsible for process improvement. C. The development team, self-organizing to implement the improvement themselves. D. External IT support, as it is a technical change. Answer: C. The development team, self-organizing to implement the improvement themselves. While the Scrum Master facilitates the retrospective and encourages improvements, the development team is responsible for implementing the process changes they agree upon. In Agile, teams are self-organizing, meaning they determine the best way to accomplish their work, including improving their tools and processes. For example, if the team decides a new collaboration tool is needed, they would collectively decide how to acquire, learn, and integrate it into their workflow, potentially allocating capacity in an upcoming sprint. This autonomy empowers the team to continuously optimize their work environment. Question 77. A product is nearing its release, and the product owner is making final adjustments to the product backlog. What term is used to describe the ongoing activity of detailing, estimating, and ordering product backlog items? A. Sprint planning. B. Sprint review. C. Product backlog refinement. D. Sprint retrospective. Answer: C. Product backlog refinement. Product backlog refinement, formerly called product backlog grooming, is an ongoing, collaborative activity where the product owner and development team add detail, estimates, and order to product backlog items. It's not a formal Scrum event but a continuous process that ensures the backlog is ready for upcoming sprints. For example, the product owner might work with the team to split a large user story into smaller, more manageable ones, or clarify acceptance criteria. This continuous preparation makes sprint planning more efficient and effective. Question 78. What does the sustainable pace principle in Agile mean for a development team? A. The team should work at maximum capacity, including overtime, to deliver quickly. B. The team should maintain a consistent, long-term pace that is achievable without burnout. C. The team should only work on tasks that are easy to complete. D. The team's pace should constantly fluctuate to adapt to changing demands. Answer: B. The team should maintain a consistent, long-term pace that is achievable without burnout. The Agile principle of sustainable pace emphasizes that Agile processes promote a steady, consistent, and maintainable working speed indefinitely. This means avoiding unsustainable bursts of overtime and ensuring the team can work effectively and consistently over the long term without experiencing burnout. For example, a team working a sustainable pace avoids death marches and ensures its members have time for rest and learning, leading to higher quality and better morale over the project's lifetime. This promotes both individual well-being and project longevity. Question 79. In an Agile project, how should requirements typically be documented? A. Through comprehensive, detailed functional specifications written up front. B. Primarily through user stories and acceptance criteria, with just enough detail for immediate use. C. Only through informal verbal discussions, with no written records. D. As a fixed, unchanging list of features approved by a change control board. Answer: B. Primarily through user stories and acceptance criteria, with just enough detail for immediate use. Agile embraces working software over comprehensive documentation, meaning documentation is lean and serves a clear purpose. Requirements are typically expressed as user stories, which are lightweight descriptions focusing on user value, complemented by acceptance criteria that define when a story is done. The level of detail is just enough for the immediate sprint, with further details emerging through conversation and collaboration. For example, a user story might be, as a user, I can log in with my email and password, with acceptance criteria specifying error messages for invalid credentials. This approach allows for flexibility and reduces wasted effort on documentation that might quickly become outdated. Question 80. A project manager is leading a team new to Agile. They are concerned about maintaining control and visibility. Which Agile practice directly addresses visibility and transparency in progress? A. Daily detailed status reports to the project manager. B. Limiting communication to formal, scheduled meetings. C. Transparent backlogs, information radiators, and daily stand-ups. D. Centralized decision-making by the project manager. Answer: C. Transparent backlogs, information radiators, and daily stand-ups. Agile addresses visibility and transparency through practices that make work in progress visible to everyone. Transparent backlogs, product and sprint, show what's being worked on. Information radiators, like Kanban boards or burn-down charts, visually display progress, and daily stand-ups provide quick updates on who is doing what and what impediments exist. For instance, a physical Kanban board on the wall allows anyone to walk by and immediately see the status of all active work items, fostering shared understanding without formal reports. This promotes a culture of openness and shared ownership. Question 81. What is the main purpose of the sprint backlog in Scrum? A. To list all features for the entire product lifecycle. B. To document all technical designs and architectural decisions. C. To provide a forecast of the product backlog items selected for the sprint, and the plan for delivering the increment. D. To record impediments and risks that arise during the sprint. Answer: C. To provide a forecast of the product backlog items selected for the sprint, and the plan for delivering the increment. The sprint backlog is a subset of the product backlog, composed of the product backlog items selected for the sprint, plus the plan for delivering them. It's created by the development team during sprint planning and represents their forecast of what functionality will be delivered in the upcoming sprint and the work needed to deliver that functionality. For example, it might contain several user stories chosen from the product backlog and the tasks the team plans to undertake to complete those stories. It's a highly visible, real-time picture of the team's work for the current sprint. Question 82. In Agile, what is the significance of the cone of uncertainty? A. It predicts the exact cost of a project before any work begins. B. It illustrates that the level of uncertainty decreases over time as more is learned about the project. C. It indicates that Agile projects are inherently more uncertain than traditional projects. D. It represents the range of acceptable project deviations. Answer: B. It illustrates that the level of uncertainty decreases over time as more is learned about the project. The cone of uncertainty is a concept that illustrates how the range of uncertainty in project estimates, scope, cost, schedule, decreases over time as the project progresses and more information is gathered. At the beginning of a project, uncertainty is high, and estimates are broad. As the team learns through iterative development and feedback, the cone narrows, leading to more precise estimates. For example, initial estimates for a new product might be plus or minus 75%, but after a few sprints, they might narrow to plus or minus 10%. Agile embraces this concept by planning iteratively and adapting as uncertainty reduces. Question 83. What is the primary purpose of a Scrum of Scrums meeting? A. To allow individual Scrum teams to present their completed work to all stakeholders. B. To coordinate efforts, share impediments, and resolve dependencies across multiple Scrum teams working on the same product. C. To review and reprioritize the overall product backlog for an entire organization. D. To train new Scrum Masters on their responsibilities and duties. Answer: B. To coordinate efforts, share impediments, and resolve dependencies across multiple Scrum teams working on the same product. When multiple Scrum teams are working on a single product, a Scrum of Scrums, or similar scaled Agile coordination event, is often used to ensure alignment and manage dependencies between them. Representatives from each team, often Scrum Masters or other designated members, meet to discuss what their team has accomplished, what they plan to do, and any impediments or dependencies affecting other teams. For example, if Team A needs an API from Team B, this meeting is where that dependency would be identified and coordinated. It's a critical mechanism for scaling Agile beyond a single team. Question 84. A product development team has embraced Agile, but a senior manager insists on comprehensive, detailed documentation for every feature before development starts. How should the team respond, aligning with Agile principles? A. Agree to the request, as management always knows best. B. Explain that Agile prioritizes working software over comprehensive documentation and suggest more frequent demos. C. Refuse to produce any documentation at all. D. Produce the documentation but delay the start of development indefinitely. Answer: B. Explain that Agile prioritizes working software over comprehensive documentation and suggest more frequent demos. The Agile Manifesto values working software over comprehensive documentation. While some documentation is necessary, Agile emphasizes delivering functional software and gaining feedback quickly, rather than spending excessive time on upfront, detailed documentation that might become outdated. The team should explain this principle and propose alternative approaches, such as frequent demonstrations of working software and just-in-time documentation, to provide the necessary transparency and assurance. For example, instead of a detailed 50-page requirements document, they might offer a lightweight user story map and regular live demos. This balances the need for information with Agile efficiency. Question 85. What is the main benefit of implementing continuous integration in a software development project? A. It provides a fixed delivery schedule for all project phases. B. It ensures that software builds are always stable and integration issues are detected early. C. It eliminates the need for any manual testing processes. D. It reduces the number of developers required for a project. Answer: B. It ensures that software builds are always stable and integration issues are detected early. Continuous integration, CI, is a practice where developers frequently merge their code changes into a central repository, with automated builds and tests running after each merge. The main benefit is that it makes integration a frequent, routine activity, catching integration bugs and breaking changes early, when they are easier and cheaper to fix. For example, instead of merging code once a week and facing a large, complex integration problem, CI ensures that potential issues are identified within minutes or hours of a change. This leads to a more stable code base and faster development cycles. Question 86. In an Agile context, which statement best describes the concept of empiricism? A. Relying solely on historical data for all future predictions. B. Making decisions based on observed results and experimentation rather than detailed upfront planning. C. Ensuring that all project activities are strictly controlled and predefined. D. Using only quantitative metrics to measure project success. Answer: B. Making decisions based on observed results and experimentation rather than detailed upfront planning. Empiricism, a cornerstone of Agile, asserts that knowledge comes from experience and making decisions based on what is observed. It emphasizes transparency, inspection, and adaptation. Rather than following a rigid plan, Agile teams experiment, learn from the outcomes, and adjust their course based on real data and feedback. For example, instead of predicting exactly what a customer wants, an empirical approach involves building a small feature, observing how users interact with it, and then adapting based on that observed behavior. It's about learning through doing and adjusting accordingly. Question 87. A product owner is prioritizing the product backlog for a new product. Which stakeholder is typically the most important to collaborate with to ensure the product delivers maximum value? A. The development team. B. Senior management. C. End users or their representatives. D. Legal and compliance departments. Answer: C. End users or their representatives. The product owner's primary goal is to maximize the value of the product, and this value is ultimately defined by the end users or customers who will use the product. Therefore, close collaboration with actual users or their direct representatives is crucial to understand their needs, gather feedback, and ensure the product backlog is prioritized to deliver features that genuinely solve their problems and provide value. For example, running user testing sessions or conducting interviews helps the product owner build the right features for the target audience. Question 88. What is the purpose of collocation in an Agile team? A. To ensure all team members work from geographically diverse locations. B. To group team members with similar technical skills into separate departments. C. To have the development team members physically working together in the same space. D. To store all project documentation in a centralized digital repository. Answer: C. To have the development team members physically working together in the same space. Collocation refers to the practice of having an Agile team physically located together in the same workspace. This arrangement significantly enhances face-to-face communication, spontaneous collaboration, and shared understanding, reducing communication overhead and fostering a stronger team dynamic. For example, team members can easily ask quick questions, observe each other's work, and have impromptu problem-solving discussions. While not always possible, it is widely considered an ideal setup for Agile teams due to the benefits of direct interaction. Question 89. A project manager is transitioning to an Agile role and asks, what replaces the traditional status report in Agile? What would be an appropriate Agile answer? A. Daily email updates from each team member. B. The sprint review meeting and transparent information radiators. C. Weekly project review meetings with detailed Gantt charts. D. A comprehensive final report upon project completion. Answer: B. The sprint review meeting and transparent information radiators. In Agile, traditional formal status reports are often replaced by more transparent, real-time information sources and regular review events. The sprint review provides a formal opportunity for the team to demonstrate working software and discuss progress with stakeholders. Additionally, information radiators like Kanban boards, burn-down charts, and product backlogs offer continuous, visual updates on the project status and progress, making formal, detailed reports less necessary. For example, a stakeholder can look at the physical Kanban board or a digital dashboard at any time to get a current status. Question 90. Which of the following best defines done in an agile context? A. The work item has been coded by a developer. B. The work item is ready for testing by a separate quality assurance team. C. The work item meets the team's definition of done and is potentially shippable. D. The work item has been demonstrated to the product owner. Answer: C. The work item meets the team's definition of done and is potentially shippable. In Agile, especially Scrum, done means that a product backlog item or increment meets all the criteria in the team's definition of done. This typically includes development, testing, integration, and often documentation, making the increment truly shippable or releasable without further work. For example, if a team's DoD states, code reviewed, tested, and deployed to staging, then a feature is only done when all those steps are completed. This shared understanding ensures quality and transparency regarding the true completion of work. Question 91. A team is constantly struggling with scope creep. New requirements are frequently added mid-sprint, disrupting their progress. What agile practice helps protect the sprint scope once committed? A. Holding daily, formal change control board meetings. B. Implementing a strict, no changes, policy for the entire project. C. Timeboxing the sprint and emphasizing the stability of the sprint goal. D. Increasing the size of the development team to handle more changes. Answer: C. Timeboxing the sprint and emphasizing the stability of the sprint goal. In Scrum, the sprint is a time-boxed period during which the development team works towards a stable sprint goal. Once the sprint starts and the sprint goal is established, the product backlog items selected for the sprint are fixed to protect the team's focus. While the product owner can cancel a sprint if the goal becomes obsolete, it's a rare event. This timeboxing and goal stability help protect the team from mid-sprint scope creep, allowing them to focus on delivering the committed increment. For example, if a new feature request comes in mid-sprint, it's usually added to the product backlog for a future sprint. Question 92. What is the primary purpose of a value stream map in lean and agile contexts? A. To document the organizational hierarchy and reporting lines. B. To visually represent all the steps involved in delivering a product or service, identifying waste. C. To track the financial spending of a project over time. D. To outline the specific test cases for a software application. Answer: B. To visually represent all the steps involved in delivering a product or service, identifying waste. A value stream map, VSM, is a lean management technique used to analyze the current state and design a future state for the series of events that take a product or service from its beginning through to the customer. Its primary purpose is to visualize the flow of value and identify non-value-adding activities, or waste, within the process. For example, mapping out the steps from a customer request to a deployed feature might reveal long waiting times between development and testing, indicating waste that can be eliminated to improve flow. Question 93. A new Agile team member asks about the role of a self-organizing team. How would you explain it to them? A. A team that functions without any management or leadership. B. A team that decides internally how best to accomplish the work and manage its own processes. C. A team where individual members only work on tasks they prefer. D. A team that solely relies on automated tools for all decision-making. Answer: B. A team that decides internally how best to accomplish the work and manage its own processes. A self-organizing team in Agile means that the people who do the work determine the best way to accomplish that work, rather than being directed by an external manager. They collectively decide on task assignments, problem-solving approaches, and process improvements. For example, instead of a manager assigning specific coding tasks, the development team decides together who will work on what to achieve the sprint goal. This empowerment fosters ownership, creativity, and adaptability within the team. Question 94. What is the main benefit of using user stories for requirements gathering in Agile? A. They provide exhaustive technical specifications for developers. B. They ensure legal compliance for all project deliverables. C. They focus on user value and facilitate conversations about needs. D. They eliminate the need for any further discussion with stakeholders. Answer: C. They focus on user value and facilitate conversations about needs. User stories, typically phrased as a user role, I want, goal, so that, benefit, are a lightweight way to capture requirements in Agile. Their main benefit is that they focus on the user's perspective and the value derived, prompting conversations about needs rather than just listing features. For example, a story like, as a shopper, I want to add items to a cart so I can buy multiple things at once, clearly articulates the user's need and the benefit, inviting discussion about how best to implement it. They serve as placeholders for future conversations. Question 95. An Agile team is performing a sprint retrospective. What is the typical outcome or artifact produced from this meeting? A finalized product roadmap for the next year. B. A list of improvements the team commits to implement in the next sprint. C. A detailed project budget for the upcoming quarter. D. A comprehensive report of individual team member performance. Answer: B. A list of improvements the team commits to implement in the next sprint. The sprint retrospective is an inspect and adapt event where the Scrum team reflects on the previous sprint and identifies ways to improve its effectiveness. The primary outcome is a set of actionable improvements to their processes, tools, relationships, or definition of done, which they then commit to implementing in the upcoming sprint. For example, the team might decide to improve their daily stand-up format or experiment with a new testing technique. These concrete commitments drive continuous improvement for the team. Question 96. What is the primary purpose of a burn-down chart in an Agile release context? A. To track the individual progress of each team member during a release. B. To visualize the remaining work and forecast the completion date for an entire release. C. To monitor the overall project budget against actual spending. D. To show the number of defects found during release testing. Answer: B. To visualize the remaining work and forecast the completion date for an entire release. A release burn-down chart is a specific type of burn-down chart that tracks the total remaining work, often in story points or feature count, for an entire release or major initiative over a longer period, typically spanning multiple sprints. It helps stakeholders and the team understand the overall progress toward the release goal and forecast the likely completion date. For instance, it can show if changes in scope are impacting the release timeline. This higher-level view helps in managing stakeholder expectations and making strategic adjustments. Question 97. An Agile team is beginning a new sprint. What event initiates the sprint and involves the entire Scrum team? A. Sprint review. B. Sprint retrospective. C. Daily Scrum. D. Sprint planning. Answer: D. Sprint planning. Sprint planning is the first event of a new sprint. During this time-boxed event, the entire Scrum team, product owner, Scrum Master, and development team, collaborates to define the sprint goal, select product backlog items to be worked on during the sprint, creating the sprint backlog, and plan how to deliver the increment. For example, they decide what features they can realistically build and how they will achieve them. This event sets the direction and focus for the entire sprint. Question 98. What is the primary difference between a feature team and a component team in Agile scaling? A. Feature teams work on individual components, while component teams work on end-to-end features. B. Feature teams deliver end-to-end user value, while component teams focus on specific technical layers or parts. C. Feature teams are cross-functional, while component teams are specialized in one skill. D. Feature teams are long-lived, while component teams are temporary. Answer: B. Feature teams deliver end-to-end user value, while component teams focus on specific technical layers or parts. In Agile scaling, a feature team is cross-functional and focused on delivering complete, end-to-end features that provide value directly to the user, e.g., login team. A component team, conversely, specializes in a particular technical component or layer of the system, e.g., database team, UI framework team, and delivers components to feature teams. While component teams can be efficient for deep expertise, feature teams are generally preferred in Agile because they reduce dependencies, allow for faster value delivery, and foster a stronger sense of product ownership. Question 99. A project manager wants to improve communication flow within an Agile team. Which practice would be most effective? A. Implementing a rigid communication hierarchy. B. Encouraging face-to-face conversations and collaboration tools. C. Relying solely on formal written documentation. D. Holding fewer meetings to reduce communication overhead. Answer: B. Encouraging face-to-face conversations and collaboration tools. Agile principles emphasize individuals and interactions over processes and tools, and value face-to-face conversation as the most effective means of communication. To improve communication flow, a project manager should foster an environment where direct dialogue is encouraged, and provide collaboration tools, like shared whiteboards, chat, or video conferencing for distributed teams, to supplement these interactions. For example, instead of an email chain, encouraging a quick huddle or video call can resolve issues faster and build better understanding. This direct approach reduces misunderstandings and speeds up decision-making. Question 100. In an Agile retrospective, the team identifies a significant impediment that is external to the team and requires management intervention. Who is primarily responsible for helping remove this impediment? A. The development team. B. The product owner. C. The Scrum Master. D. An external project manager. Answer: C. The Scrum Master. The Scrum Master serves the Scrum team by removing impediments to the team's progress. While the team identifies the impediment during the retrospective, if it's something outside their direct control or requires organizational change or intervention, the Scrum Master takes on the responsibility to facilitate its removal. For example, if the team needs a new server from IT, the Scrum Master would coordinate with IT to get it, allowing the team to focus on development. This role is crucial for enabling the team's self-organization and productivity. Question 101. What is the primary purpose of the product vision in Agile? A. To provide a detailed breakdown of all tasks for the entire project. B. To serve as a high-level, aspirational statement of the product's ultimate goal and purpose. C. To define the specific features to be delivered in the next sprint. D. To document the legal requirements for product compliance. Answer: B. To serve as a high-level, aspirational statement of the product's ultimate goal and purpose. The product vision is a concise, inspiring statement that articulates the why and what of the product. It defines the long-term strategic goal, the problem it solves, and the target users, providing a compass for the entire development effort. For example, a vision might be to create the most intuitive and reliable personal finance app for millennials. This overarching vision guides the product owner in prioritizing the product backlog and helps the team align their work towards a common, meaningful objective. Question 102. A new Agile team is trying to decide on the length of their first sprint. What factors should they consider? A. The total estimated duration of the project. B. The level of uncertainty, the need for frequent feedback, and the team's ability to complete a done increment. C. The availability of all stakeholders for sprint reviews. D. The number of features already defined in the product backlog. Answer: B. The level of uncertainty, the need for frequent feedback, and the team's ability to complete a done increment. When deciding on sprint length, an Agile team should consider several factors to optimize for learning and delivery. Higher uncertainty or a greater need for frequent feedback often suggests shorter sprints, e.g., 1 to 2 weeks. The team's ability to consistently produce a done, usable increment within the time box is also crucial. For example, if a team can only truly complete features every 4 weeks, a 2-week sprint might be too short to show meaningful progress. Shorter sprints generally increase feedback frequency and reduce risk. Question 103. In a Scrum team, who is responsible for determining how product backlog items will be turned into a done increment during a sprint? A. The product owner. B. The Scrum Master. C. The development team. D. The project manager. Answer: C. The development team. The development team is self-organizing and cross-functional, meaning they collectively possess all the skills and authority to determine how to build the increment. During sprint planning, after selecting which product backlog items to work on, the development team collaboratively plans how they will accomplish the work, breaking items down into tasks and deciding on the technical approach. For example, they decide on the architecture, the coding standards, and the testing strategy. This autonomy fosters their ownership and commitment. Question 104. What is the primary purpose of test-driven development, TDD, in Agile? A. To perform all testing at the end of the development cycle. B. To write automated tests before writing the functional code, driving design and ensuring quality. C. To rely solely on manual testing by a separate quality assurance team. D. To document all test cases comprehensively before starting any development. Answer: B. To write automated tests before writing the functional code, driving design and ensuring quality. Test-driven development, TDD, is an agile engineering practice where developers write automated tests for a small piece of functionality before writing the actual production code. The process involves writing a failing test, then writing just enough code to make the test pass, and finally refactoring the code. This cycle helps ensure code quality, drives clear design, and provides immediate feedback. For example, before coding a login feature, a developer would write a test that verifies successful login, then write the code to make that test pass. TDD significantly reduces defects and improves code maintainability. Question 105. A stakeholder complains that the Agile team is not delivering features quickly enough. The team points out they are adhering to a sustainable pace. What does this imply? A. The team is intentionally slowing down development to save costs. B. The team is working at a consistent, maintainable speed that avoids burnout and promotes long-term productivity. C. The team is waiting for external dependencies to be resolved before accelerating. D. The team is only working on low-priority items, which inherently take longer. Answer: B. The team is working at a consistent, maintainable speed that avoids burnout and promotes long-term productivity. The Agile principle of sustainable pace encourages teams to work at a consistent, realistic speed that can be maintained indefinitely without leading to burnout. This means avoiding excessive overtime or death marches, which can temporarily boost output but lead to exhaustion, errors, and ultimately decreased productivity. For example, a team might consistently deliver 25 story points per sprint, rather than attempting 50 points one sprint and then crashing. Maintaining a sustainable pace ensures high-quality output and team well-being over the long run. Question 106. In Agile projects, what is the significance of the daily stand-up or daily scrum? A. It is a formal meeting for project managers to assign tasks to individual team members. B. It is a synchronization meeting for the development team to plan their work for the next 24 hours and identify impediments. C. It is a platform for stakeholders to provide detailed feedback on completed features. D. It is a brainstorming session for generating new product ideas. Answer. B. It is a synchronization meeting for the development team to plan their work for the next 24 hours and identify impediments. The daily stand-up, or daily scrum in Scrum, is a short, time-boxed meeting, typically 15 minutes, where the development team synchronizes their activities and plans for the next 24 hours. Each team member briefly shares what they did yesterday, what they will do today, and any impediments they face. This helps the team self-organize, identify dependencies, and adapt their plan to achieve the sprint goal. For example, if a team member states they are blocked, others might offer help, or the Scrum Master will take action to remove the impediment. Question 107. What does technical debt refer to in Agile development? A. Money owed to external vendors for technical services. B. The cost of purchasing new development tools and hardware. C. The accumulated cost of suboptimal design or implementation decisions made for short-term gain. D. The budget allocated for technical training for the development team. Answer. C. The accumulated cost of suboptimal design or implementation decisions made for short-term gain. Technical debt is a metaphor reflecting the extra development work that arises when code that is easy to implement in the short run is used instead of applying the best overall solution. It's like taking a shortcut, which makes initial progress fast but incurs future interest payments in the form of increased complexity, slower development, and more defects. For example, hard coding values instead of using configurable settings creates technical debt. Agile teams typically aim to address and pay down technical debt incrementally to maintain the long-term health and agility of the codebase. Question 108. Which of the following best describes the Agile principle of simplicity? A. The art of performing all tasks with minimal effort. B. Maximizing the amount of work not done by focusing on essential features. C. Eliminating all documentation from the project. D. Designing products that are easy for customers to use. Answer. B. Maximizing the amount of work not done by focusing on essential features. The Agile principle of simplicity, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done, is essential, emphasizes focusing only on what is truly necessary to deliver value. It encourages teams to question complexity and ruthlessly eliminate unnecessary features, processes, or documentation. For example, instead of building a highly complex reporting module, a team embracing simplicity would deliver the core reports first, and only add more complexity if needed based on feedback. This focus on just enough leads to more valuable products and more efficient development. Question 109. What is the primary function of a Scrum Master in a Scrum team? A. To manage the project budget and scope. B. To lead the daily technical discussions and make architectural decisions. C. To facilitate the Scrum process, remove impediments, and coach the team. D. To define the product vision and prioritize the product backlog. Answer. C. To facilitate the Scrum process, remove impediments, and coach the team. The Scrum Master acts as a servant leader to the Scrum team, product owner, and organization. Their primary responsibilities include coaching the team on Scrum practices, helping them adhere to the framework, facilitating Scrum events, and working to remove any impediments that hinder the team's progress. For example, if the team is struggling with self-organization, the Scrum Master would coach them on techniques to improve. They are the process owner for Scrum, enabling the team to be effective. Question 110. A product owner is having difficulty getting stakeholders to review and provide feedback on the product increment in a timely manner. What Agile event is specifically designed for inspecting the increment and gathering feedback? A. Daily Scrum. B. Sprint planning. C. Sprint review. D. Sprint retrospective. Answer: C. Sprint review. The sprint review is a formal event at the end of each sprint where the Scrum team presents the done increment to key stakeholders. This event is specifically designed to facilitate inspection of the product and gather feedback directly from stakeholders, which is then used to adapt the product backlog for future sprints. For example, during a sprint review, the product owner would demonstrate new features to stakeholders and solicit their immediate reactions. This direct engagement encourages timely feedback and ensures the product remains aligned with evolving needs. Question 111. What is the core difference between a waterfall project approach and an agile project approach regarding requirements? A. Waterfall allows for continuous changes to requirements, while agile keeps them fixed. B. Waterfall emphasizes upfront, detailed requirements gathering, while agile embraces evolving requirements. C. Waterfall relies solely on verbal communication for requirements, while agile requires extensive documentation. D. Waterfall involves the customer only at the end of the project, while agile excludes customer involvement entirely. Answer: B. Waterfall emphasizes upfront, detailed requirements gathering, while agile embraces evolving requirements. The fundamental difference lies in their approach to requirements. Traditional waterfall models attempt to gather and finalize all requirements upfront before design or development begins, assuming they will remain stable. Agile, conversely, embraces the reality that requirements can evolve throughout a project. It prioritizes responding to change over following a plan, and focuses on iteratively discovering and refining requirements through continuous feedback loops. For example, a waterfall project might spend 6 months writing a detailed requirements document, while an agile project would start with high-level user stories and refine them as they build. Question 112. In an agile project, when would the definition of ready, if used, typically be applied? A. Before a new feature is released to the end users. B. Before a product backlog item is pulled into a sprint by the development team. C. At the beginning of the project to define the overall scope. D. After a bug fix has been deployed to production. Answer: B. Before a product backlog item is pulled into a sprint by the development team. The definition of ready is an optional agreement that some agile teams use to define the criteria a product backlog item must meet before it can be considered ready for the development team to start working on it in a sprint. It ensures that stories are clear, understood, and estimable, preventing ambiguity and rework during the sprint. For example, a definition of ready might specify that a user story must have clear acceptance criteria and be estimated by the team. This ensures the team is prepared to deliver the item successfully within the time box. Question 113. What is the primary benefit of transparency in an agile project? A. It allows management to micromanage individual team members. B. It builds trust, fosters self-organization, and enables timely decision-making and adaptation. C. It ensures that all project information is strictly confidential. D. It eliminates the need for any formal communication channels. Answer: B. B. It builds trust, fosters self-organization, and enables timely decision-making and adaptation. Transparency is a core pillar of empiricism in Agile. By making all aspects of the project visible, the backlog, progress, impediments, and decisions, it builds trust among the team and with stakeholders. This openness allows everyone to have a shared understanding of the current state, enabling timely inspection, informed decision-making, and proactive adaptation to challenges. For example, an open Kanban board makes it clear what everyone is working on, fostering shared accountability and allowing for quicker issue resolution. Question 114. A product owner is prioritizing the product backlog and wants to consider the potential value of each feature relative to its implementation effort. Which Agile estimation and prioritization technique directly supports this? A. 3-point estimating. B. Critical chain method. C. Weighted shortest job first, WSJF. D. Earned value management. Answer, C. Weighted shortest job first, WSJF. Weighted shortest job first, WSJF, is a prioritization model used in Agile, especially in scaled Agile frameworks, to sequence jobs, e.g., features, epics, to provide the maximum economic benefit. It prioritizes items by dividing the cost of delay, business value, time criticality, risk reduction/opportunity enablement, by the job size, effort. This technique helps product owners and stakeholders make objective decisions about what to work on next, maximizing throughput of value. For example, a feature with high business value and low effort would have a high WSJF score, making it a priority. Question 115. A new development team is struggling with the concept of done. They often declare work done, but later find critical bugs or unfinished aspects. What should the Scrum Master do to help them? A. Tell them to work harder and faster to avoid bugs. B. Provide them with a strict, external checklist for done. C. Facilitate a session for the team to collaboratively refine and commit to a clear definition of done. D. Take over the testing responsibilities to ensure quality. Answer, C. Facilitate a session for the team to collaboratively refine and commit to a clear definition of done. The definition of done, DoD, is a shared understanding within the Scrum team of what it means for a product backlog item to be truly complete and potentially shippable. If the team is struggling, the Scrum Master should facilitate a session where the team collaboratively defines or refines their DoD, making it explicit and ensuring everyone understands and commits to it. For example, they might add criteria like all automated tests pass or code reviewed and approved to their DoD. A clear, shared DoD is essential for consistent quality and transparency. Question 116. What is the primary purpose of retrospectives in Agile? A. To review past project failures and assign blame. B. To reflect on how the team is working and identify improvements for future sprints. C. To finalize documentation for completed project phases. D. To negotiate new contracts with stakeholders. Answer, B. To reflect on how the team is working and identify improvements for future sprints. Retrospectives, sprint retrospective in Scrum, are regular, time-boxed events where the Agile team inspects its own performance, processes, tools, and interactions. The primary purpose is to identify what went well, what could be improved, and create concrete action plans for improvements to be enacted in the next sprint. For example, a team might discuss why they struggled to estimate a certain type of story and decide to try a new estimation technique. This continuous self-reflection is a cornerstone of Agile's commitment to continuous improvement. Question 117. A product owner needs to convey a complex, new product idea to a diverse group of stakeholders. Which Agile technique would be most effective for initial exploration and understanding? A. Writing a detailed, multi-page business requirements document. B. Creating a product vision board or lean canvas. C. Scheduling individual meetings with each stakeholder for detailed interviews. D. Developing a comprehensive project charter with fixed scope. Answer: B. Creating a product vision board or lean canvas. For complex new product ideas, a product vision board or lean canvas are agile tools that help capture and communicate key aspects of a product at a high level. They provide a structured way to define the vision, target users, needs, features, business goals, and competitive advantages on a single page or canvas. This concise, visual format facilitates shared understanding and discussion among diverse stakeholders, avoiding the premature detailing of a long document. For example, the product owner can use a lean canvas to outline the problem, solution, and key metrics. Question 118. What is the role of a value stream in the context of scaled agile frameworks, e.g., SAFe? A. A financial accounting system for tracking project costs. B. The sequence of all steps an organization uses to deliver solutions to its customers. C. A marketing strategy for promoting product value to the market. D. A database for storing customer feedback and requirements. Answer: B. The sequence of all steps an organization uses to deliver solutions to its customers. In scaled agile frameworks like SAFe, a value stream represents the complete set of steps an organization takes to deliver a continuous flow of value to a customer, from concept to delivery. It typically involves multiple teams, departments, and systems. Understanding and optimizing value streams is crucial for identifying bottlenecks, reducing lead time, and improving flow across the enterprise. For example, a customer onboarding value stream might involve sales, product, engineering, and support departments. This holistic view helps align efforts for end-to-end value delivery. Question 119. Which of the following statements best aligns with the agile principle of welcome changing requirements, even late in development? A. All changes are accepted without any impact analysis or prioritization. B. Changes are seen as opportunities to deliver more value, and the process supports accommodating them. C. Changes should be avoided at all costs once development has begun. D. Only minor, non-functional changes are permissible during development. Answer: B. Changes are seen as opportunities to deliver more value, and the process supports accommodating them. The Agile principle, welcome changing requirements, even late in development, reflects the understanding that in dynamic environments, requirements will evolve, and embracing these changes can lead to a more valuable and relevant product. Agile processes are designed to be flexible and adaptive, allowing for changes to be incorporated without significant disruption, provided they are prioritized appropriately. For example, if a market trend emerges late in the project, an Agile team can adapt its backlog to incorporate a new feature that capitalizes on it. This flexibility allows for continuous optimization of value. Question 120. A product owner is frequently asked to provide an exact, fixed completion date for the entire project. How should the product owner respond, aligning with Agile forecasting? A. Provide a single, firm date based on initial estimates, and commit to it. B. Explain that Agile uses adaptive planning and will provide a forecast range, updated regularly. C. Decline to give any date, as Agile projects have no fixed timelines. D. Ask the development team to work overtime to meet a strict deadline. Answer: B. Explain that Agile uses adaptive planning and will provide a forecast range, updated regularly. Agile embraces adaptive planning and acknowledges the inherent uncertainty in complex product development. Instead of fixed, precise dates, Agile provides forecasts, often as a range, e.g., likely to complete between Q3 and Q4 next year, or through tools like release burndown charts and velocity. These forecasts are updated regularly as more is learned. For example, the product owner might use historical velocity to project likely completion dates, explaining that this is a living forecast that will become more precise over time. This transparency manages expectations realistically. Question 121. What is the primary purpose of a sprint goal in Scrum? A. To serve as a fixed contract for the work to be completed in the sprint. B. To provide a concise, overarching objective for the sprint, guiding the team's work. C. To list all the individual tasks assigned to each team member. D. To define the specific technical architecture for the increment. Answer: B. To provide a concise, overarching objective for the sprint, guiding the team's work. The sprint goal is a single, clear objective for the sprint, which provides focus and coherence to the development team's work. It helps the team understand why they are building the selected product backlog items and provides flexibility if minor adjustments are needed within the sprint. For example, a sprint goal might be, enable users to create and manage their profiles, giving the team a unified direction beyond just individual features. It also helps the team make trade-off decisions and provide stakeholders with a clear understanding of the sprint's outcome. Question 122. In Agile, what is the role of a cross-functional team? A. A team composed of members from different departments who each perform their specialized function independently. B. A team that has all the necessary skills and expertise within itself to complete the work from start to finish. C. A team that focuses on resolving cross-project dependencies and issues. D. A team where members take on multiple management roles to reduce overhead. Answer: B. A team that has all the necessary skills and expertise within itself to complete the work from start to finish. A cross-functional team in Agile is composed of individuals who collectively possess all the diverse skills and expertise required to deliver a done product increment without relying on external dependencies. This means they have developers, testers, designers, etc., all within the same team. For example, a cross-functional team can take a user story from concept through development, testing, and deployment without handing it off to different departments. This structure promotes collaboration, faster flow, and shared ownership of the product. Question 123. Which of the following Agile principles emphasizes delivering value frequently and embracing change? A. Continuous attention to technical excellence and good design enhances agility. B. Deliver working software frequently, from a couple of weeks to a couple of months, with a preference to the shorter timescale. C. The best architectures, requirements, and designs emerge from self-organizing teams. D. At regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective, then tunes and adjusts its behavior accordingly. Answer: B. Deliver working software frequently, from a couple of weeks to a couple of months, with a preference to the shorter timescale. This Agile Manifesto principle directly promotes frequent delivery of working software, typically in short cycles, sprints or iterations. This approach allows for rapid feedback from stakeholders and users, which enables the team to adapt to changing requirements and maximize the value delivered. For example, releasing a functional login feature every 2 weeks is preferred over waiting 6 months for an entire application. This frequent delivery reduces risk and ensures the product remains relevant and valuable. Question 124. A product owner is defining requirements for a new system. Which Agile approach to requirements gathering emphasizes continuous conversation and collaboration? A. Creating a comprehensive business requirements document, BRD, upfront. B. Holding a single, large requirements workshop at the beginning of the project. C. Using user stories and ongoing dialogue with the development team and stakeholders. D. Outsourcing requirements definition to a third-party consultant. Answer: C. Using user stories and ongoing dialogue with the development team and stakeholders. Agile emphasizes continuous collaboration and conversation throughout the project lifecycle, especially concerning requirements. User stories serve as placeholders for these conversations, prompting ongoing dialogue between the product owner, the development team, and stakeholders. This iterative approach allows requirements to emerge and evolve as understanding deepens and feedback is gathered. For example, instead of a detailed specification, a user story like, "As a user, I want to search for products," facilitates a rich discussion during backlog refinement to clarify specific search criteria. Question 125. What is the primary purpose of a Kanban board in an Agile team's workflow? A. To document all team member vacation schedules. B. To visually represent the workflow, track work in progress, and identify bottlenecks. C. To manage individual employee performance reviews. D. To display the project's overall financial budget. Answer: B. To visually represent the workflow, track work in progress, and identify bottlenecks. A Kanban board is a visual tool used to manage and visualize work as it flows through a system. It typically consists of columns representing different stages of the workflow, e.g., to do, in progress, testing, done, and cards representing individual work items. Its primary purpose is to make the work transparent, limit work in progress, WIP, and help identify bottlenecks in the flow. For example, if many cards pile up in the testing column, it indicates a bottleneck there. This visualization helps the team optimize their workflow and improve efficiency. Question 126. A team is starting its first Agile project. What is a key characteristic of planning in Agile that differs from traditional project management? A. Planning is a one-time event conducted at the very beginning of the project. B. Planning is an ongoing, iterative activity, with details emerging over time. C. Planning is exclusively performed by a dedicated project planning department. D. Agile projects do not require any formal planning. Answer: B. Planning is an ongoing, iterative activity, with details emerging over time. Unlike traditional approaches that emphasize comprehensive upfront planning, Agile embraces adaptive planning. This means planning is a continuous, iterative process that occurs at multiple levels: release, sprint, daily, and evolves as the team learns more and gathers feedback. Details emerge just in time rather than being fully defined upfront. For example, while a high-level product roadmap is defined early, the precise tasks for a feature might only be detailed just before a sprint begins. This continuous planning allows for flexibility and responsiveness to change. Question 127. Which Agile principle suggests that the most efficient and effective method of conveying information to and within a development team is face-to-face conversation? A. Self-organizing teams. B. Individuals and interactions over processes and tools. C. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. D. Responding to change over following a plan. Answer: B. Individuals and interactions over processes and tools. This is one of the 4 core values of the Agile Manifesto. It highlights that while processes and tools have their place, genuine communication and collaboration among team members are far more effective for sharing information, building understanding, and solving problems. Direct, in-person conversation allows for nuances, immediate feedback, and clarification that written documentation often lacks. For example, a quick discussion about a complex code issue is usually more productive than a long email thread. Question 128. What is the primary purpose of continuous integration, CI, in Agile software development? A. To integrate all external project dependencies at the end of the project. B. To merge developers' code changes frequently into a shared repository, running automated tests. C. To continuously integrate new team members into the development process. D. To ensure that all project documentation is integrated into a single system. Answer B. To merge developers' code changes frequently into a shared repository, running automated tests. Continuous integration, CI, is an agile engineering practice where developers frequently merge their code changes, typically multiple times a day, into a central shared repository. After each merge, an automated build and suite of tests are run to quickly detect any integration errors or regressions. The primary purpose is to keep the codebase in a consistently working state, reducing the effort and risk associated with integrating large amounts of code. For example, if a developer makes a change that breaks the build, CI immediately flags it, allowing for a quick fix. Question 129. During a sprint review, a stakeholder suggests a new, high-priority feature that was not previously considered. What should the product owner do? A. Immediately add the feature to the current sprint backlog. B. Decline the feature as the sprint is nearly complete. C. Add the feature to the product backlog and prioritize it for future consideration. D. Promise to include the feature in the very next sprint. Answer: C. Add the feature to the product backlog and prioritize it for future consideration. The sprint review is the ideal forum for stakeholders to provide feedback and suggest new ideas. When a new feature is suggested, the product owner should capture it in the product backlog, along with all other potential work. The product owner then assesses its value, urgency, and effort, and prioritizes it against existing items for future sprints, without disrupting the current sprint. For example, if a new regulatory requirement emerges, the product owner would add it to the backlog and decide if it needs to be the highest priority for the next sprint. Question 130. What is the primary difference between a release and a sprint in an agile project? A release is a single development cycle, while a sprint is the final delivery of the product. B. A release is a deployment of a potentially shippable product increment to users, spanning multiple sprints, while a sprint is a short, time-boxed development cycle. C. A release focuses on internal team activities, while a sprint focuses on external stakeholder communication. D. A release is a long-term strategic plan, while a sprint is a short-term tactical plan. Answer: B. A release is a deployment of a potentially shippable product increment to users, spanning multiple sprints, while a sprint is a short, time-boxed development cycle. A sprint, or iteration, is a short, time-boxed period, typically 1 to 4 weeks, during which an agile team works to deliver a done and potentially shippable increment of product. A release, on the other hand, is the actual deployment of one or more of these done increments to end users or customers, making the value available. A release typically spans multiple sprints and focuses on delivering a cohesive set of features. For example, a team might complete 4 two-week sprints and then combine those increments into a quarterly software release. Question 131. Which of the following is a key characteristic of adaptive planning in Agile? A. All project requirements and tasks are finalized up front. B. Plans are frequently adjusted based on feedback and new information. C. The project schedule is immutable once set. D. Planning is conducted only by the project manager, with no team involvement. Answer: B. Plans are frequently adjusted based on feedback and new information. Adaptive planning is a hallmark of Agile methodologies. It recognizes that in complex, uncertain environments, initial plans are likely to change. Therefore, Agile planning is an iterative and continuous process where plans are reviewed and adjusted frequently based on feedback from completed work, new insights, and changing market conditions. For example, after a sprint review, the product roadmap might be adapted based on user feedback. This continuous refinement ensures the project remains aligned with the most current understanding of value and needs. Question 132. In a Scrum team, what is the purpose of the product backlog? A. A fixed list of all tasks to be completed in the current sprint. B. A prioritized, evolving list of all the work to be done for the product. C. A document detailing the team's internal working agreements. D. A log of all impediments encountered during the project. Answer: B. A prioritized, evolving list of all the work to be done for the product. The product backlog is a dynamic, ordered list of everything that might be needed in the product. It is continually refined, groomed, and reprioritized by the product owner to reflect the most valuable items to deliver next. It serves as the single source of truth for all work on the product. For example, it contains user stories, bug fixes, and technical enhancements, all ordered by value and risk. This living artifact ensures the team is always working on the most important things. Question 133. What does the servant leadership mindset primarily involve in an agile context? A. Directing the team's every move and task. B. Empowering the team, removing impediments, and fostering a collaborative environment. C. Focusing solely on individual performance metrics and enforcing rules. D. Delegating all responsibilities to the team without any oversight. Answer: B. Empowering the team, removing impediments, and fostering a collaborative environment. Servant leadership, a key tenet in Agile, especially for the Scrum Master, is about leading by serving the team. This involves prioritizing the needs of the team members, enabling their autonomy, helping them grow, removing obstacles that hinder their progress, and fostering a supportive, collaborative environment. For example, a servant leader might coach the team on conflict resolution or negotiate with external stakeholders to get necessary resources, rather than simply giving orders. This approach helps the team self-organize and reach its full potential. Question 134. A project team is practicing Kanban. What is the significance of limiting work in progress, WIP? A. It ensures that team members are always busy working on multiple tasks simultaneously. B. It helps identify bottlenecks, improve flow, and reduce context switching. C. It encourages individual team members to work in isolation. D. It dictates the precise number of hours spent on each task. Answer: B. It helps identify bottlenecks, improve flow, and reduce context switching. Limiting work in progress, WIP, is a core practice in Kanban. By setting a maximum number of items that can be in a particular workflow state at any given time, WIP limits prevent overburdening the system, improve the flow of work, and expose bottlenecks. When a WIP limit is reached, it signals that the team should focus on completing existing work before starting new tasks, reducing context switching and improving efficiency. For example, if "in progress" has a WIP limit of 3, a team member cannot pull a fourth task until one of the current 3 moves forward. This encourages a "stop starting, start finishing" mentality. Question 135. Which of the following best describes the Agile approach to project risks? A. Risks are identified and mitigated completely upfront, with no further monitoring. B. Risks are managed iteratively, identified and addressed continuously throughout the project lifecycle. C. Risks are the sole responsibility of a dedicated risk management department. D. Agile projects are inherently risk-free due to their flexibility. Answer: B. Risks are managed iteratively, identified and addressed continuously throughout the project lifecycle. Agile embraces uncertainty and approaches risk management iteratively. Instead of attempting to identify and mitigate all risks up front, Agile teams continuously identify, assess, and address risks as they emerge and as more is learned about the project. This involves integrating risk discussions into daily stand-ups, sprint planning, and retrospectives, allowing for proactive adaptation. For example, if a new technical risk is discovered, the team might conduct a spike to de-risk it or prioritize it in the backlog. This continuous risk awareness helps in navigating complex environments. Question 136. What is the primary purpose of a sprint retrospective in Scrum? A. To inspect the product increment and gather feedback from stakeholders. B. To plan the work for the upcoming sprint. C. To inspect how the team worked and identify improvements for the next sprint. D. To resolve technical issues and impediments encountered during the sprint. Answer: C. To inspect how the team worked and identify improvements for the next sprint. The sprint retrospective is a key Scrum event where the Scrum team dedicates time to reflect on the past sprint. Its primary purpose is to inspect processes, tools, interactions, and the definition of done, and then identify the most helpful changes to improve their effectiveness in the next sprint. For example, the team might discuss why they missed their sprint goal and decide to refine their estimation process. This continuous self-reflection and adaptation are crucial for Agile teams to continuously improve their way of working. Question 137. Which of the following metrics would a product owner likely use to track the overall progress of a product release spanning multiple sprints? A. Daily burn-down chart. B. Individual task completion rate. C. Release burn-down chart or cumulative flow diagram. D. Team member happiness index. Answer: C. Release burn-down chart or cumulative flow diagram. For tracking the overall progress of a product release that spans multiple sprints, a product owner would typically use higher-level metrics like a release burn-down chart, showing remaining work for the entire release, or a cumulative flow diagram, visualizing the flow of work and identifying bottlenecks over time. These provide a broader view than a daily sprint burn-down and help forecast the release date. For example, a release burn-down chart can show if new features are being added to the scope, impacting the projected release date. Question 138. In an Agile project, what does technical excellence refer to? A. Hiring only the most senior and experienced developers. B. Developing software with clean code, good design, and automated tests. C. Focusing solely on building new features without considering maintainability. D. Documenting every line of code with detailed comments. Answer: B. Developing software with clean code, good design, and automated tests. The Agile principle, continuous attention to technical excellence and good design enhances agility, highlights the importance of building quality into the product from the start. Technical excellence refers to practices like writing clean, maintainable code, designing for flexibility, employing automated testing, like TDD, and regularly refactoring. For example, a team practicing technical excellence ensures their code is easy to understand and modify by future developers, rather than just getting features out the door. This commitment to quality reduces technical debt and enables the team to maintain a sustainable pace of delivery. Question 139. What is the most effective approach for a Scrum team to estimate product backlog items? A. Estimation by a single, senior architect. B. Using a predefined formula based on lines of code. C. Collaborative estimation using relative sizing, e.g., story points, and techniques like planning poker. D. Assigning arbitrary time limits to each item. Answer: C. Collaborative estimation using relative sizing, e.g., story points, and techniques like planning poker. In Scrum, the development team collaboratively estimates product backlog items. They typically use relative sizing, such as story points, which reflect the effort, complexity, and uncertainty of an item compared to others. Techniques like planning poker facilitate this collaborative estimation, leveraging the collective wisdom of the team. For example, instead of guessing hours, the team compares a new feature to a known, completed feature and assigns a point value. This approach leads to more accurate and widely understood estimates, as everyone on the team contributes their perspective. Question 140. A project is using a hybrid approach, combining traditional project management for overall governance and Agile for execution. What challenge might arise in integrating these two approaches? A. Lack of any clear project plan or roadmap. B. Difficulty in measuring project performance consistently. C. Conflicting terminology, reporting requirements, and cultural differences. D. Too much flexibility, leading to uncontrolled scope changes. Answer: C. Conflicting terminology, reporting requirements, and cultural differences. Integrating traditional, predictive, and agile, adaptive, approaches in a hybrid model often presents challenges related to conflicting terminologies, e.g., scope versus backlog, differing reporting needs, e.g., fixed Gantt charts versus burn-down charts, and fundamental cultural differences, e.g., command and control versus self-organization. For example, a traditional PM might require detailed upfront documentation, while an agile team prefers just-in-time discussion. Successfully navigating these differences requires careful communication, mutual understanding, and flexibility from both sides. Question 141. What is the primary purpose of product backlog refinement, or grooming? A. To finalize the sprint goal before a sprint begins. B. To ensure the product backlog is sufficiently detailed, estimated, and ordered for upcoming sprints. C. To review completed work at the end of a sprint with stakeholders. D. To resolve technical impediments that block the development team. Answer: B. To ensure the product backlog is sufficiently detailed, estimated, and ordered for upcoming sprints. Product backlog refinement is an ongoing, collaborative activity between the product owner and the development team, typically consuming no more than 10% of the development team's capacity. Its purpose is to add detail, estimates, and order to product backlog items, making them clear and ready for future sprint planning. For example, during refinement, a large user story might be broken down into smaller ones, or acceptance criteria might be clarified. This continuous preparation ensures a smooth flow of well-understood work into sprints. Question 142. Which of the following is an agile principle emphasizing that the entire team, including business people and developers, must work together daily throughout the project? A. Self-organizing teams. B. Customer collaboration. C. Business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. D. Simplicity. Answer: C. Business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. This is one of the 12 principles behind the Agile Manifesto. It emphasizes continuous, close collaboration and communication between the business stakeholders, who represent the customer and define requirements, and the development team, who build the product. This daily interaction ensures a shared understanding of needs, quick resolution of questions, and alignment on priorities, reducing misunderstandings and accelerating value delivery. For example, instead of a formal weekly meeting, a product owner might sit with the team daily to answer questions. Question 143. What is the primary role of acceptance criteria in an Agile user story? A. To list all the technical tasks required to implement the story. B. To define the conditions that must be met for a user story to be considered done and accepted by the product owner. C. To specify the budget allocated for the development of the story. D. To describe the user interface design for the story. Answer: B. To define the conditions that must be met for a user story to be considered done and accepted by the product owner. Acceptance criteria are a set of conditions or requirements that specify when a user story is complete and functioning as intended from a user's perspective. They clarify the scope and expectations of the story, making it testable and ensuring that the development team and product owner share a common understanding of done. For example, for a login user story, acceptance criteria might include, given a valid username and password, I can log in successfully, and, given invalid credentials, I receive an error message. They provide clear boundaries for what needs to be delivered. Question 144. In a Scrum environment, what is the responsibility of the development team regarding the sprint backlog? A. To prioritize the items in the sprint backlog. B. To ensure the sprint backlog items are detailed enough for their work. C. To manage and update the sprint backlog during the sprint to reflect their progress. D. To select the items for the sprint backlog from the product backlog without product owner input. Answer: C. To manage and update the sprint backlog during the sprint to reflect their progress. While the development team selects the items for the sprint backlog during sprint planning, with product owner input on priority and goal, they are ultimately responsible for managing and updating their sprint backlog throughout the sprint. This includes refining tasks, marking progress, and adjusting the plan as new information emerges, always striving to achieve the sprint goal. For example, if a task takes longer than expected, the team updates the remaining work and discusses how to adapt. This continuous management reflects their self-organizing nature. Question 145. A project is facing high uncertainty and rapidly changing market conditions. Which Agile approach is most suitable for this environment? A. Predictive, plan-driven approach. B. Fixed scope, fixed price contract approach. C. Iterative and incremental approach with frequent feedback loops. D. Linear, sequential development approach. Answer: C. Iterative and incremental approach with frequent feedback loops. Agile's iterative and incremental approach, characterized by short development cycles and frequent feedback loops, is highly suitable for environments with high uncertainty and rapid change. It allows the team to build small increments of functionality, get immediate feedback from users and stakeholders, and adapt their plans quickly based on new information. For example, instead of trying to predict all market needs up front, an Agile team builds a small feature, releases it, learns from market response, and then adjusts. This continuous learning and adaptation reduce risk in dynamic contexts. Question 146. What is the concept of emergent design in Agile? A. All design decisions are made up front by an architectural review board. B. The design of the system evolves and improves iteratively as the team gains more understanding and builds the product. C. Design is completely ignored in favor of rapid coding. D. The design is created by an external team and handed over to the development team. Answer: B. The design of the system evolves and improves iteratively as the team gains more understanding and builds the product. Emergent design is an Agile concept where the detailed design of the system is not fully specified up front but rather evolves and improves incrementally throughout the development process. As the team builds features and gains deeper understanding, they continuously refine and adapt the architecture and design, often through practices like refactoring and test-driven development. For example, instead of designing every class and module for a whole system, they design just enough for the current sprint and allow the design to emerge and grow organically with new features. This adaptive approach ensures the design remains relevant and flexible. Question 147. What is the primary benefit of continuous delivery, CD, in an Agile project? A. It eliminates the need for any manual testing. B. It ensures that software can be released to production reliably and frequently. C. It allows developers to work on large features for long periods without deployment. D. It reduces the total budget allocated for software development. Answer: B. It ensures that software can be released to production reliably and frequently. Continuous delivery, CD, is an extension of continuous integration, focusing on automating the entire software release process, from code commit to deployment in production. The primary benefit is that it makes releasing software a routine, low-risk, and frequent event, allowing organizations to deliver new features and bug fixes to users much faster and more reliably. For example, a team might set up a CD pipeline that automatically deploys a new version to production several times a week, enabling rapid market feedback. This capability is crucial for maximizing value and responsiveness. Question 148. A product owner is struggling to break down large, complex features into manageable pieces for the development team. What agile concept should they apply? A. The critical path method. B. Epic, feature, and user story breakdown. C. Earned value management. D. Resource leveling. Answer: B. Epic, feature, and user story breakdown. In Agile, large, complex pieces of work are typically broken down using a hierarchical structure to make them more manageable. An epic is a large body of work that can be broken down into multiple features, and each feature can then be broken down into smaller user stories. This iterative decomposition allows the product owner to manage complexity and define work at the appropriate level of detail for planning and development. For example, a new user onboarding epic might contain account creation and profile setup features, each broken into several user stories. Question 149. What is the primary purpose of a sprint review in Scrum? A. To plan the tasks for the upcoming sprint. B. To inspect the increment and adapt the product backlog based on stakeholder feedback. C. To discuss how the team can improve its processes. D. To resolve technical impediments for the development team. Answer: B. To inspect the increment and adapt the product backlog based on stakeholder feedback. The sprint review is a key Scrum event held at the end of each sprint. Its main purpose is for the Scrum team and key stakeholders to collaborate on the done increment, demonstrate its functionality, and inspect the progress towards the product goal. Crucially, feedback from stakeholders is gathered during this event and used by the product owner to update and reprioritize the product backlog for future sprints. For instance, if a feature demo reveals a crucial missing piece, that feedback immediately influences the next iteration's plan. Question 150. Which of the following statements reflects a key aspect of lean thinking in Agile? A. Maximizing the number of features delivered, regardless of their value. B. Focusing on eliminating waste and delivering value to the customer. C. Investing heavily in upfront planning to avoid any rework. D. Prioritizing individual task completion over the flow of value. Answer: B. Focusing on eliminating waste and delivering value to the customer. Lean principles are highly influential in Agile and emphasize maximizing customer value while relentlessly identifying and eliminating waste in all its forms, e.g., unnecessary features, defects, waiting, overproduction, unnecessary motion, overprocessing. The goal is to optimize the flow of value to the customer. For example, a lean-inspired Agile team would question if a detailed report is truly needed before spending time generating it, or they might streamline their build process to reduce waiting time. This focus on efficiency and value delivery is central to lean. Question 151. A product owner decides to use relative sizing for product backlog items instead of hourly estimates. What is a key advantage of this approach? A. It provides a more precise and accurate time estimate for each task. B. it discourages team collaboration during the estimation process. C. It accounts for complexity and uncertainty, fostering collective ownership of estimates. D. It allows for direct comparison of effort across different Agile teams. Answer C. It accounts for complexity and uncertainty, fostering collective ownership of estimates. Relative sizing, such as using story points, involves estimating the size of a user story based on its complexity, uncertainty, and effort relative to other stories, rather than assigning a precise time duration. This approach acknowledges that predicting exact time for complex, creative work is difficult. It encourages rich discussions among the team about the work, building a shared understanding and fostering collective ownership of the estimates, leading to more realistic and reliable forecasts. For example, a story might be estimated as an 8 because it's significantly more complex than a 3, irrespective of exact hours. Question 152. What is the primary characteristic of an Agile release train, ART, in safe, scaled Agile framework? A. A single Scrum team focused on a specific product feature. B. A virtual organization of Agile teams that collaboratively plans, commits, and executes together to deliver solutions. C. A department responsible for managing all project budgets. D. A tool used to track individual task completion within a sprint. Answer: B. A virtual organization of Agile teams that collaboratively plans, commits, and executes together to deliver solutions. In SAFe, an Agile release train, ART, is a long-lived team of Agile teams, typically 50 to 125 people, that works together to deliver a continuous flow of value in a program increment, PI. It functions as a team of teams, aligning on a shared mission, vision, and roadmap, and synchronizing through common events like PI planning. For example, multiple Scrum teams working on different parts of a large software product would be part of the same ART to ensure their efforts are coordinated and integrated towards a common solution. It's a key mechanism for scaling agility. Question 153. A new Agile team member is confused about the product owner's role. They believe the product owner only writes requirements. How would you clarify the product owner's primary responsibility? A. The product owner ensures the team follows Agile processes. B. The product owner is responsible for maximizing the value of the product delivered by the development team. C. The product owner designs the technical architecture of the product. D. The product owner manages all external project risks. Answer: B. The product owner is responsible for maximizing the value of the product delivered by the development team. The core responsibility of the product owner is to maximize the value of the product that the development team builds. This goes beyond just writing requirements and includes managing the product backlog, prioritizing items based on business value, engaging with stakeholders, and ensuring the team builds the right product. For example, the product owner continuously analyzes market trends and customer feedback to ensure the most impactful features are developed. Their focus is on ensuring the product delivers the highest possible return on investment. Question 154. What is the primary benefit of cross-functional teams in an Agile environment? A. They allow for specialized individuals to work in isolation on specific components. B. They reduce the need for external dependencies and facilitate faster value delivery. C. They are primarily used for managing project budgets and resources. D. They focus solely on theoretical design without practical implementation. Answer: B. They reduce the need for external dependencies and facilitate faster value delivery. A cross-functional team in Agile is composed of members with all the diverse skills necessary to complete a piece of work from start to finish without needing to hand off tasks to external departments. This structure significantly reduces external dependencies, communication delays, and handoff issues, leading to a faster flow of value. For example, a team with developers, testers, and designers can take a user story from concept to done within a single sprint, without waiting for outside teams. This promotes efficiency and agility. Question 155. In a Scrum environment, what is the role of the daily Scrum? A. To report progress to senior management. B. To inspect progress toward the sprint goal and adapt the sprint backlog as necessary. C. To present completed work to stakeholders for feedback. D. To resolve all technical problems encountered by the team. Answer: B. To inspect progress toward the sprint goal and adapt the sprint backlog as necessary. The daily Scrum or daily stand-up is a 15-minute time-boxed event for the development team. Its purpose is to synchronize activities and plan for the next 24 hours, inspecting progress towards the sprint goal and adapting the sprint backlog if needed. It's not a status meeting for management, but a planning meeting for the team. For instance, team members discuss what they did yesterday, what they will do today, and any impediments, allowing them to adjust their plan to stay on track for the sprint goal. Question 156. An Agile project team decides to implement pair programming. What is the main benefit of this practice? A. It reduces the number of developers needed for the project. B. It improves code quality, facilitates knowledge sharing, and reduces defects. C. It allows developers to work independently without interruption. D. It speeds up individual coding tasks by assigning them to two people. Answer: B. It improves code quality, facilitates knowledge sharing, and reduces defects. Pair programming, a practice from extreme programming, XP, involves two developers working together at one workstation on the same code. One writes, the driver, while the other reviews and guides, the navigator. This collaboration leads to higher code quality due to immediate peer review, faster knowledge transfer between team members, and fewer defects being introduced. For example, one developer might think of a test case while the other is coding, catching an issue early. It's a continuous learning and quality assurance process. Question 157. What is the concept of information radiators in an Agile workspace? A. Devices that block wireless signals to reduce distractions. B. Visual displays that provide immediate and transparent project information to the team and stakeholders. C. Tools used only by the Scrum Master to track progress secretly. D. Formal reports distributed via email at the end of each week. Answer: B. Visual displays that provide immediate and transparent project information to the team and stakeholders. Information radiators are highly visible displays, like whiteboards, Kanban boards, burn-down charts on a monitor, or big visible charts, that provide a quick, transparent overview of the project's current status and progress. They are designed to be easily accessible to everyone, fostering shared understanding and reducing the need for formal communication. For example, a team's Kanban board showing "to do," "in progress," and "done" columns acts as an information radiator, making the workflow visible to anyone who glances at it. They promote transparency and collective awareness. Question 158. Which of the following is a key aspect of Agile scaling frameworks, e.g., SAFe, LESS, Scrum at scale? A. They eliminate the need for individual Scrum teams. B. They provide structures and practices for coordinating multiple Agile teams working on large products. C. They enforce a rigid, centralized command and control structure. D. They are exclusively used for very small, single-team projects. Answer: B. They provide structures and practices for coordinating multiple Agile teams working on large products. Agile scaling frameworks are designed to apply Agile principles and practices to larger, more complex initiatives that involve multiple Agile teams working on a shared product or solution. They provide structures, roles, events, and practices to ensure coordination, alignment, and dependency management across these teams, enabling the benefits of agility at an enterprise level. For example, SAFe introduces concepts like the Agile Release Train to synchronize the efforts of multiple Scrum teams. Question 159. A project stakeholder is insistent on having detailed requirements documented up front for a new feature. How should an Agile team respond, balancing Agile principles with stakeholder needs? A. Create all documentation requested, even if it delays development. B. Explain that Agile prefers working software over comprehensive documentation, and propose iterative delivery with continuous feedback and just-in-time documentation. C. Refuse to document anything, citing Agile principles. D. Ask the stakeholder to document the requirements themselves. Answer. B. Explain that Agile prefers working software over comprehensive documentation, and propose iterative delivery with continuous feedback and just-in-time documentation. While Agile values working software more than comprehensive documentation, it doesn't mean no documentation. The team should explain that Agile emphasizes delivering value iteratively and getting quick feedback, which reduces the need for extensive upfront documentation. They should propose a collaborative approach, using lightweight documentation like user stories and acceptance criteria, complemented by frequent demonstrations of working software. For example, they might suggest regular sprint reviews where stakeholders can see and interact with the developing feature, reducing the reliance on lengthy written specifications. This approach balances transparency with Agile sufficiency and adaptability. Question 160. What is the primary purpose of a sprint backlog in Scrum? A. To serve as the overall roadmap for the entire product. B. To represent the development team's plan for delivering the sprint goal and creating the increment. C. To list all the bug fixes identified for the upcoming release. D. To document the Scrum Master's impediments for the sprint. Answer. B. To represent the development team's plan for delivering the sprint goal and creating the increment. The sprint backlog is created by the development team during sprint planning. It consists of the product backlog items selected for the sprint, plus the concrete plan for delivering them and achieving the sprint goal. It's a highly visible, real-time plan that the development team owns and updates throughout the sprint. For example, it lists the user stories the team committed to and the specific tasks they need to complete to deliver those stories as a done increment. It's their working plan to accomplish the sprint goal. Question 161. A product owner is prioritizing the product backlog. What is the most important factor they should consider to maximize value? A. The technical complexity of the items. B. The estimated effort required to complete the items. C. The business value, risk, and dependencies of each item. D. The personal preferences of individual team members. Answer. C. The business value, risk, and dependencies of each item. The product owner's primary responsibility is to maximize the value of the product resulting from the work of the development team. Therefore, when prioritizing the product backlog, they should consider a holistic view that includes the business value, e.g., market demand, revenue potential, the risks associated with an item, e.g., technical uncertainty, regulatory compliance, and any dependencies on other items or teams. For example, a high-value, high-risk item might be prioritized earlier to de-risk the project. This balanced approach ensures the most impactful and critical work is always tackled first. Question 162. In Agile, what does done signify for a product backlog item? A. The item has been coded and unit tested by a developer. B. The item has been reviewed by the product owner and is ready for release. C. The item meets the team's definition of done and is considered potentially shippable. D. The item has been formally approved by all stakeholders. Answer, C. The item meets the team's definition of done and is considered potentially shippable. The definition of done, DoD, is a shared, explicit understanding within the Agile team, especially in Scrum, of what it means for a product backlog item to be truly complete and of releasable quality. It typically includes activities like coding, testing, unit, integration, acceptance, code review, and integration into the main codebase. When an item is done according to the DoD, it means it is fully functional, tested, and ready to be delivered to users if the product owner chooses. This ensures consistent quality and transparency of progress. Question 163. What is the core principle behind the daily Scrum being time-boxed to 15 minutes? A. To limit discussions to only high-level status updates. B. To ensure efficiency and maintain focus on progress and impediments. C. To allow enough time for individual team members to complete their tasks. D. To accommodate the busy schedules of all project stakeholders. Answer, B. To ensure efficiency and maintain focus on progress and impediments. The daily Scrum is time-boxed to a maximum of 15 minutes to encourage brevity, focus, and efficiency. This strict time limit prevents the meeting from becoming a lengthy problem-solving session and ensures the team quickly aligns on their plan for the next 24 hours. Any deeper discussions or problem-solving that arise are typically moved to a separate meeting immediately after the daily Scrum, involving only the relevant participants. This maintains the meeting's purpose of rapid synchronization. Question 164. What is the primary benefit of cross-functional teams in an Agile development environment? A. They allow for highly specialized individual roles, reducing the need for generalists. B. They possess all the skills necessary to complete work end-to-end, reducing dependencies. C. They are inherently more efficient at resource allocation across different projects. D. They require less management oversight than traditional functional teams. Answer, B. They possess all the skills necessary to complete work end-to-end, reducing dependencies. A cross-functional team in Agile means that the team, as a whole, has all the diverse skills, e.g., development, testing, design, database expertise, required to take a user story or feature from concept to a done and shippable state. This structure minimizes handoffs to external departments, reduces dependencies, and speeds up the flow of work. For example, instead of waiting for a separate QA department, the team includes testers who can test immediately, leading to faster completion and higher quality. This enables greater autonomy and faster delivery. Question 165. Which Agile principle emphasizes working software over comprehensive documentation? A. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. B. Working software over comprehensive documentation. C. Responding to change over following a plan. D. Individuals and interactions over processes and tools. Answer, B. Working software over comprehensive documentation. This is one of the 4 core values of the Agile Manifesto. It states that while documentation has value, the ultimate measure of progress in an Agile project is the delivery of tangible, working software that provides value to the customer. The focus is on creating usable products iteratively rather than spending excessive time on upfront, detailed documentation that may become outdated. For example, a team prioritizes delivering a functional user login over spending weeks writing a detailed user interface specification. This principle emphasizes results and rapid feedback. Question 166. A product owner wants to evaluate the long-term strategic direction of the product. Which Agile tool or artifact would be most suitable for this purpose? A. Sprint backlog. B. Daily Scrum. C. Product roadmap. D. Sprint retrospective. Answer, C. Product roadmap. The product roadmap is a high-level, visual summary that outlines the vision, strategic direction, and anticipated evolution of a product over time, typically spanning several months or even years. It serves as a guide for the product owner in strategic planning and communication of the product's future. For example, a roadmap might show planned releases focusing on different themes like user authentication, reporting, and integrations over the next year. It helps align stakeholders on the long-term vision and priorities. Question 167. What is the primary role of the Scrum Master in fostering self-organization within the development team? A. To assign tasks to individual team members and oversee their daily work. B. To coach the team on agile principles and practices, and remove impediments. C. To make all critical decisions for the team to ensure efficiency. D. To act as a project manager, controlling the team's resources and budget. Answer: B. To coach the team on agile principles and practices, and remove impediments. The Scrum Master facilitates and coaches the development team, guiding them in their journey towards self-organization. This involves helping the team understand agile principles, identifying areas where they can improve their collaboration and decision-making, and removing any obstacles that prevent them from organizing their own work. For example, if the team is struggling to agree on a technical approach, the Scrum Master might coach them on collaborative decision-making techniques. They empower the team to take ownership and solve their own problems, rather than dictating solutions. Question 168. A key stakeholder is consistently bypassing the product owner and providing direct requirements to the development team during a sprint. What is the main problem with this behavior in Scrum? A. It speeds up communication and eliminates bureaucracy. B. It undermines the product owner's authority and can disrupt the sprint goal. C. It allows the development team to prioritize their own work. D. It provides immediate feedback, which is always positive for agility. Answer: B. It undermines the product owner's authority and can disrupt the sprint goal. In Scrum, the product owner is the single authority for the product backlog and its ordering, representing the voice of the customer and stakeholders. When stakeholders bypass the product owner and directly introduce requirements to the development team during a sprint, it can undermine the product owner's ability to maximize value, disrupt the sprint goal, and lead to confusion about priorities. For example, the team might start working on something that isn't the most valuable or that wasn't properly refined. The Scrum Master should coach the stakeholder on the product owner's role as the single point of contact for product scope. Question 169. What is the purpose of velocity in Agile? A. To measure the individual productivity of each team member. B. To forecast how much work a team can complete in future sprints based on past performance. C. To determine the total number of hours a team spent on a project. D. To compare the speed of different Agile teams against each other. Answer: B. To forecast how much work a team can complete in future sprints based on past performance. Velocity is an Agile metric that measures the amount of done work, typically in story points, that a development team completes in a single sprint. It's a team-level metric used primarily for forecasting future capacity and helping the team make realistic commitments for upcoming sprints, not for comparing individual performance or team-to-team comparisons. For example, if a team's average velocity is 30 story points per sprint, they can reasonably commit to around 30 points in the next sprint. It's a valuable empirical tool for adaptive planning. Question 170. What is a key characteristic of time-boxed events in Scrum? A. They must be completed at the earliest possible time, irrespective of quality. B. They have a maximum duration, after which they end, ensuring efficiency and focus. C. They can be extended if the team needs more time to achieve its objective. D. They are informal gatherings with no set agenda or end time. Answer, B. They have a maximum duration, after which they end, ensuring efficiency and focus. All events in Scrum, Sprint, Sprint Planning, Daily Scrum, Sprint Review, Sprint Retrospective, are time-boxed. This means they have a fixed maximum duration, and when that time is up, the event ends, regardless of whether all agenda items have been fully discussed. This practice creates a sense of urgency, fosters focus, and ensures that meetings are concise and productive. For example, the daily Scrum's 15-minute time box prevents it from becoming a lengthy problem-solving session. This disciplined approach ensures a consistent rhythm for the team. Question 171. A team is using a Kanban board and notices that a large number of completed items are piling up in the Done column, but they are not being released to the customer. What principle of Kanban might be lacking? A. Limiting work in progress, WIP. B. Making policies explicit. C. Managing flow, or pull system. D. Respecting people. Answer, C. Managing flow, or pull system. If items are piling up in the Done column but not being released, it indicates a bottleneck or a lack of flow in the value delivery process. Kanban emphasizes managing flow, often through a pull system, where work is pulled into the next stage only when there is capacity. If items are done but not released, it suggests that the release process itself might be a bottleneck or there's no clear mechanism to pull finished work to the customer. For example, the team might need to automate their deployment process or establish a clearer release cadence to ensure a smooth flow of value to end users. Question 172. What is the purpose of release planning in Agile? A. To create a detailed project plan with fixed dates for every feature delivery. B. To define the overall scope and strategy for delivering a set of features across multiple sprints. C. To manage individual team members' vacation schedules and availability. D. To determine the specific tasks for the upcoming sprint. Answer, B. To define the overall scope and strategy for delivering a set of features across multiple sprints. Release planning in Agile is a higher-level planning activity that looks beyond a single sprint. Its purpose is to define a potential roadmap for delivering a valuable increment of the product, typically spanning several sprints. It involves forecasting which features or epics might be included in an upcoming release and setting a tentative release goal and date. For example, a release plan might aim to deliver all core user authentication and profile management features within the next 3 sprints. It provides a strategic overview, but remains flexible and subject to adaptation. Question 173. What is the primary benefit of continuous integration in a software development project? A. It eliminates the need for any form of manual testing. B. It ensures that all code changes are merged and tested frequently, reducing integration issues and maintaining a healthy code base. C. It allows developers to work in isolation for longer periods without impacting others. D. It provides a fixed, unchangeable schedule for all project deliverables. Answer, B. It ensures that all code changes are merged and tested frequently, reducing integration issues and maintaining a healthy code base. Continuous integration, CI, is a cornerstone Agile engineering practice where developers regularly merge their code changes into a shared repository, and automated builds and tests are run upon each commit. The main benefit is that it dramatically reduces the risk and complexity of integration problems by detecting them early and frequently. For instance, instead of discovering a major conflict between 2 developers' code at the end of a long development cycle, CI identifies it within minutes or hours. This leads to a more stable code base and faster development cycles. Question 174. A Scrum Master observes that the development team often struggles with external dependencies and delays caused by other departments. What action should the Scrum Master prioritize? A. Tell the team to ignore external dependencies and focus only on their sprint. B. Document all external dependencies and escalate them immediately to senior management. C. Work with the relevant external departments and stakeholders to remove these impediments. D. Assign a team member to manage all external communications. Answer: C. Work with the relevant external departments and stakeholders to remove these impediments. A core responsibility of the Scrum Master is to remove impediments that block the development team's progress. When external dependencies or organizational obstacles cause delays, the Scrum Master should proactively intervene by collaborating with the relevant external departments, managers, or stakeholders to resolve these issues. For example, if the team needs access to a specific database, the Scrum Master would work with the database administration team to get that access. Their role is to clear the path for the team to remain focused on delivering value. Question 175. What is the primary purpose of a spike in Agile development? A. To quickly implement a high-priority bug fix during a sprint. B. To conduct a short, time-boxed research or exploration effort to reduce uncertainty. C. To demonstrate a new feature to stakeholders at the end of a sprint. D. To identify and mitigate all project risks up front. Answer: B. To conduct a short, time-boxed research or exploration effort to reduce uncertainty. A spike is a small, time-boxed technical or investigative task, not a shippable feature, undertaken by an Agile team to explore a technical challenge, research a solution, or gather necessary information to reduce uncertainty before committing to a full implementation. For example, if a team is unsure about the feasibility of integrating with a new API, they might conduct a spike to build a small prototype and test the integration. This proactive research helps in making informed decisions and de-risking future development. Question 176. Which of the following is a characteristic of self-organizing teams in Agile? A. They are managed by a traditional project manager who assigns all tasks. B. They determine how best to accomplish their work without external direction on specific tasks. C. They are composed of individuals who only work on tasks related to their specialized skill. D. They require constant supervision to maintain productivity. Answer: B. They determine how best to accomplish their work without external direction on specific tasks. Self-organizing teams are a cornerstone of Agile methodologies, meaning the people who do the work collectively decide how to accomplish that work. They take ownership of their processes, task assignments, and problem-solving within the framework's boundaries. For example, instead of a manager dictating who works on which bug, the team collectively decides how to allocate tasks to achieve the sprint goal. This empowerment fosters creativity, motivation, and adaptability within the team. Question 177. A product owner decides to adjust the priority of several items in the product backlog mid-project due to a shift in market demand. This best reflects which Agile value? A. Individuals and interactions over processes and tools. B. Working software over comprehensive documentation. C. Responding to change over following a plan. D. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. Answer: C. Responding to change over following a plan. This Agile manifesto value directly supports the product owner's action. It emphasizes that in complex, dynamic environments, embracing changes that deliver more value is preferable to rigidly sticking to an original, less relevant plan. The Agile process allows for and encourages adapting the backlog and direction based on new information, like market shifts. For example, if a competitor releases a new feature, adapting the plan to incorporate a response is more valuable than blindly following the original plan. This adaptability is key to delivering a valuable product. Question 178. What is the primary purpose of a sprint goal in Scrum? A. To list every task the team will complete in the sprint. B. To serve as an overarching objective for the sprint, guiding the development team's work. C. To act as a fixed contract that cannot be changed during the sprint. D. To define the specific technical architecture for the increment. Answer: B. To serve as an overarching objective for the sprint, guiding the development team's work. The sprint goal is a single, concise objective that the development team commits to achieving during a sprint. It provides a shared purpose and focus, allowing the team some flexibility in how they achieve it while ensuring alignment on the sprint's outcome. For example, a sprint goal might be, enable users to securely log into the system, which guides the team's selection of product backlog items and helps them make decisions if challenges arise. It's the why behind the sprint. Question 179. In an Agile project, who is ultimately responsible for ensuring the quality of the product increment? A. The dedicated quality assurance (QA) team. B. The product owner. C. The Scrum Master. D. The entire development team. Answer: D. The entire development team. In Agile, particularly Scrum, the entire development team is collectively responsible for the quality of the product increment. Quality is not something added at the end by a separate QA team, it is built in from the start through practices like test-driven development, TDD, continuous integration, refactoring, and a shared definition of done. For example, developers are expected to write tests and ensure their code meets quality standards, and testers are integrated members of the team. This shared responsibility ensures a consistently high-quality product. Question 180. A project team is struggling with frequent context switching due to too many items being in progress simultaneously. Which Agile principle or practice directly addresses this problem? A. Frequent sprint reviews. B. Maximizing work in progress, WIP. C. Limiting work in progress, WIP. D. Increasing the number of user stories in the backlog. Answer: C. Limiting work in progress, WIP. Limiting work in progress, WIP, is a core principle and practice in Kanban and widely applied in other Agile contexts. By setting a maximum number of items that can be actively worked on at any given time, WIP limits force the team to focus on completing existing work before starting new tasks. This significantly reduces context switching, improves focus, accelerates flow, and helps identify bottlenecks in the workflow. For example, if a team has a WIP limit of 3 for development, they cannot pull a fourth item until one of the current 3 is completed and moved to the next stage.